Oi, hello, hello, hello. Oh man. So let's talk about Dunk and Egg. Um, so according to an interview with Ira Parker, and I'll bring up the specific Ira Parker 15 seasons. Um, there is this whole thing like you've got an ad blocker on. Oh, fuck off. Fuck off. Um 12 additional stories. Is that from the. Let me get this article. So there was specifically an article about where Ira Parker said that he received 10 to 12 additional Dunk and Egg stories outside of the Hedge Knight, the Sworn Sword, and the Mystery Knight. This goes to George gave me 10 to 12 in addition to the first three. This is yeah, he says this in actually here, I'll bring it, but it's in a Reddit. He actually did this in a Reddit post here. So I'll bring this up just so you guys don't think I'm making anything up here. All right. So in an AMA, he says, how many seasons do you have a general story for past seasons 1 to 3, if any? George gave me 10 to 12 stories in addition to the first three. So that's doing my math. That's somewhere between 13 and 15 stories. And that's past the original three. That means we're not talking about the Dornish adventures. So let's try to figure out exactly what this is. Now, do I think these are ever going to be written? Do I think these are going to be put to screen? No, I don't think that Night of the Seven Kingdoms is going to get more than 6 or 7 seasons. Okay, so I don't see 12 seasons. He said in a different interview that he wanted to do 4 or 5 and then take a 10-year break and then do 4 or 5 and then do 10-year break and then do 4 or 5. And Ira Parker broke this up into the Squire period, the Prince period, and the King period for Egg. So anyway, so let's very very briefly let's talk about these stories, okay, and what we know about Dunk and Egg. So first of all, obviously, the first story that we all know and love is the Hedge Knight. Okay, there's number one, and of course the second one, which doesn't really count, is the Dornish Adventure. From previous versions of the Hedge Knight, we know that the Dornish Adventure probably had something to do with Lady Vaith, but it doesn't really count. Okay, it never got written. George passed over it. So, but we know that this Hedge Knight here. I can put some time periods on here too. Let's do this. All right. So we know that Hedge Knight takes place in 209. So all well and good. Okay. So obviously our second story is the Sworn Sword. And this takes place in 211. All right. I'll be getting to, juicier information later. Okay, let's see here. So then obviously our third one is the Mystery Knight. So this is the world we live in. We've got our at least our 3 seasons. Now, almost certainly, we know the next two stories. We know the Squire period, and we know the Squire period because it's written about in the Sworn Sword. George has even given us titles. We know that the fourth story, which takes place in the Riverlands, is called The Village Hero. This is a tale of this is a we hear about the issue in the Sworn Sword that everybody hates Otho Bracken because Otho we in the Hedge Knight we find out that Otho Bracken killed the Blackwood during its previous tourney, and now his brother dies, which makes him heir, and the Blackwoods are not going to like that, and it's going to lead to war. So we know this is almost certainly the plot of the Village Hero. Also the fact that like so much of the Jaime story, Jaime A Dance with Dragons, is actually written around the same time as like George was thinking about all of this stuff. It's absolutely 100% like a Blackwood Bracken adventure dealing with Otho Bracken. And if you're wondering about the duels, I mean, obviously the Hedge Knight is a trial by combat, but mainly Dunk versus Arion. The Sworn Sword, we have no idea about any duel in the Dornish adventure, but the Sworn Sword, the duel is Dunk versus Lucas Longinch. The Mystery Knight is Glendon Flowers versus Daemon Targaryen 2. The Village Hero would probably be Otho Bracken versus one of the four Blackwoods that we hear about in the Hedge Knight, Roger or what are their names? Roger or Benifer or Roland or whoever. Robert, Roger, Benifer, Roland, doesn't matter. But that's probably the duel situation, okay? And then who knows if Otho gets killed and that resolves the issue, or if there's a marriage at the end that resolves the issue. Maybe Otho gets married to one of the Blackwood girls, or something like that. Anyway, the next one is of course the She-Wolves of Winterfell. Again, we know this from how they've explained like it in the Sworn Sword that the Ironborn are reaving. They're heading north. In the Sworn Sword at the end, they said they're heading towards the Wall. We know just from family trees and how George has talked about this. He said that the She-Wolves of Winterfell is about 5 widows of lords of Winterfell. You can actually look at the family tree and figure out who those 5 are. I've done a video on the She-Wolves of Winterfell. I imagine based on the family tree that the duel in question would be something like Lamy Snow versus either Torrin or Kriegard Stark. But like that would be my guess on the duel. But whatever the case, this is it. And I don't know if this is at about 212 or so. So importantly, Carmine recently had an interview with Elio Garcia, and Carmine asked specifically about what information on Dunk and Egg he had, and Elio said that he was only given information on the year 212 and later, and nothing earlier. Because we asked him about the Dornish adventure, and he's like, I know nothing about that because I was only given information at 212 till 212 and later. So, and so we get to the She-Wolves of Winterfell and this. So this is almost certainly the entire Squire period for Egg. All right, so this is the easy one. Let's see if I can move these guys over here so that you can. But the Squire period, for Egg is this. But we know that, like, I mean, anybody that's interested real briefly in Shields of Winterfell, essentially it stars this Royce woman she's fearing that her son is going to get usurped because he's too young to lead forces against the Ironborn, and this previously passed over Sansa Stark is probably pushing her sons to be Lord of Winterfell, and she needs somebody on her side, and the five widows are kind of ruling Winterfell because her son is too young, and she's trying to have somebody defend her, and I'm sure it's Lamy Snow is gonna do something, and whatever. I'm sure there's a dispute because Lamy Snow is a bastard, just like Catelyn didn't like him, and I'm sure there'll be a duel and anything. Okay, so let's see here. Let's get now. If we're next talking about Egg's Prince period, okay. Well, the Prince period is probably begins with the Third Blackfyre Rebellion. And can I put myself somewhere that's not so... I'll put myself up here. Is that not so in the way? All right, so the Third Blackfyre Rebellion, it's in the year 219. And George had thrown out titles, and one of them he threw out was called the Sellsword. It doesn't really matter, but it seems to me, I guess, it makes the most sense if Dunk is a sellsword during the Third Blackfyre Rebellion. And the duel in this one is almost certainly, because everything seems to have a duel. Oops. The duel is almost certainly Bittersteel versus Bloodraven. In this one. So we have no idea about the plot. It's just there's another invasion of the Blackfyres, and Bittersteel and Bloodraven are going to have a duel, and Dunk seems to be a sellsword during this period, and that's it. Okay. Now after that, it's a bit hard to figure out what another story would be about. Elio didn't give very much information on on Dunk and Egg, but he did say that there was a lot more information on Aerion Brightflame. A lot, he said. And so the return of Aerion Brightflame and Aerion being involved in things seems to be a big part of the Prince period. So we know that Aerion Brightflame fights in the Third Blackfyre Rebellion with famous things that he did that they don't tell us what he did. So the only other significant thing that kind of happens to Egg after the Blackfyre Rebellion is he does get married. And so I imagine that he gets married in 220. So I imagine that obviously if he has a marriage, his brother is going to attend it. So again, Aerion Brightflame is in the story. So Aerion Brightflame is there for the Third Blackfyre Rebellion because he fights in it. He's there for Egg's marriage because he's family. So this, I would guess, would be the 7th story, would be Egg's marriage, would be my guess. This is based on very little. I just don't have any other events that are occurring and so I kind of think that, something would be there. We just don't have anything else. All we know is that Aryan Brightflame is heavy during this period, and so you need to have events that bring Aryan Brightflame into the story, and so that's my guess. And then we know that the following year, King Aerys dies, and we know that Maekar is summoned to court to become king. And that's, again, if everybody's summoned to court, that's another opportunity for Aryan Brightflame to be in the story, because everyone, his whole family is summoned to court. So that happens in 221. And so after this, of course, again, just going off of, things are heavy Aryan. We've got to think about Aryan's hatching attempt. Would probably be the 9th story. Aryan's hatching attempt, where he drinks wildfire. And the thing is Aryan's hatching attempt does happen a lot later than the others. But, we also know that Aryan is made Prince of Dragonstone as well, which means he can, he's which I imagine that, like, when Maekar becomes king, they see Aryan, and then he's made Prince of Dragonstone, so he can disappear on Dragonstone, and they don't have to see Aryan, so he doesn't cause any trouble in between when Aryan finally gets his hatching attempt. Because keep in mind, like, piecing this plot together, right? At this point, Maekar becomes king. He makes Aryan Prince of Dragonstone. Aryan is going to go to Dragonstone, be around dragon eggs. He's around dragon eggs. We know that from the world of Ice and Fire that he gets into dark arts. He thinks he can hatch a dragon by, like, drinking wildfire or whatever, and then he dies. And we know that happens. And then after that, I think it's a sure bet that the 10th adventure would be the Great Council of 233, where Egg becomes king. And then, I don't know if you're looking for a duel or whatever, but it's we know that the beheading of the execution of Blackfyre happens there. And then, so that's 233. So, all things considered, I think this is a pretty good guess on his Prince period, if I do say so for myself. I think, obviously, the Squire period, we have that down pat. And then based on the fact that we know that, like, Aryan has to be like a central character in most of this period, I think that, third Blackfyre, Egg's marriage, Aerys' death, and Maekar becoming king, Aerian's hatching attempt, and the Great Council being 5 stories, you know. And also, you know, the fact that he's like kind of saying, oh, between 10 and 12 stories. And he said before, like, oh, my plan would be like to go away and then have like 4 to 5 stories. So the fact that like some of these might be able to be blended, I think Egg's marriage and Aerys's death close in time might not, you know, you could argue that this could be one story too. So that works as well. Okay, so then finally, we're talking about the king period. So Egg is king. Almost certainly the next one we're talking about is the Fourth Blackfire Rebellion. And Fourth Blackfire Rebellion, put this up here, and that is in the year 236. Okay. And then, who is? No. Duolingo telling me to do my duo. All right. And then Fourth Blackfire Rebellion. In case you're wondering about the duel, there's another duel in that. Dunk versus Daemon Targaryen III. Great Council. I don't know if there'd be duel. We don't ever hear about Haegon getting dueled, but you know, it always has. You know, it has to end with some sort of excitement, right? There has to be a climax to the story, and it's usually a duel. So then, let's see here. I was just reading comments for a second. Oh, how did this get big? Damn it. Shrink. There we go. Okay. And then after this, we are almost certain that one of the stories is the what I would say is the champion. And the champion is almost certainly the story of Duncan the Small, Jenny of Old Stones, and Lionel Baratheon. And it ends with, you know, Dunk having a duel with Lionel. But we know that, like, Sir Duncan the Small was supposed to marry a Baratheon. He falls in love with Jenny of Old Stones. Instead, he breaks the betrothal, and Lionel is upset and has a duel against Dunk. That happens in 239. That's almost certain that this is a story. Okay, now we're coming down to the final album. I'll move myself over here for a while. Can I put myself? Bring to front. Let's bring to front here. Okay. Okay. And then we're talking after the champion. This is where things get tough. This is where the wild card area. Okay. We hear about some Westerland uprisings. That's about all we got. That maybe, you know, they say there might be some Westerland uprisings during this period. We do not know. So this could be 13 and 14, the Westerland uprisings. This is the big mystery period. We don't know. Or is that just 13? No, that's just 13. Right. We hear about these things. That could be one. All right. So then next is, I would guess, it's not, not much, but maybe the tourney at Blackhaven. And the tourney at Blackhaven, we don't know much about it except that Barristan Selmy is there. And it's the Barristan Selmy 10-year-old boy mystery night issue thing. Maybe. You'd think that there'd be more to happen there. I mean, that's not much to happen, right? This one little issue with Barristan. But this is why I say this area is shaky. Like, who knows? Maybe you could do that, the tourney at Blackhaven. If you come up with some other plots to throw in there. And then, of course, almost certainly the final story is Summerhall. And Summerhall. Can I shrink this to the right size? There we go. Almost certainly Summerhall. And Summerhall takes place in 259. All right. There it is. I'll put myself down here for a moment. But yeah, this is pretty much the history of Dunk and Egg, what the adventures would be. Pretty confident about 13 of the 15. I'm pretty confident about 12 of the stories that these are the ones. Obviously, Hedge Knight, Swornsword Mystery Night, Village Hero, She-Wolves of Winterfell. Those 5 positive. Third Blackfire Rebellion, positive. Then I would say probably Egg's Marriage and Maekar Becoming King. Those could be 1 or 2 separate adventures, but at least that, covering that. Arianne's Hatching Attempt, absolutely. Great Council, absolutely. Fourth Blackfire Rebellion, absolutely. The Champion with Duncan and Lionel, absolutely. Then it gets shaky. I don't know. I'm not super confident about a Westerlands Uprising and the tourney at Blackhaven. And then obviously the last one's Summerhall. But that is pretty much what we know, and I'm pretty confident here. Hello, Trey. How are you?
Oh, it's great. I'm doing great. How are you? How are you,
Let
Preston? It's
me
been a while.
now that I've gotten all of this out of the way, and uh, let me give you a window here. So what's been going on?
Oh, it's been good. I've been living in the success of the most recent video. It was a gamble to make a 2 hour long road trip video,
Yeah,
and
well,
it paid
I
off.
mean, it was heavy effort, heavy effort, but heavy, like heavy good return, right? Like that's the
Yeah.
thing. I was thinking about that because Jenny Nicholson, or she um, doesn't post very often, but when she does, it's like these like long analyses, and then
Yeah.
um, and they always get like, hold on, Carmine's here. What's going on? What's going on?
I know what Carmine's gonna tell me. I know what
You
Carmine's gonna
better
tell
you
me to
better
talk
do it.
about.
You better tell him.
What's
I'll
up?
tell him. I'll tell him.
You better
There's
tell him. Can I hype it up a little? Do you mind?
sure.
Trey
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
had a converse. By the way, I have to. Trey's the funniest guy ever. So Preston knows this. Every now and then I'll call people and I'll be like, just to check in on them, see how they're doing.
Yeah.
And Trey, you know this about me, but every time I call Trey, it's like a flip of a coin. The first thing he says to me, he'll go, "Hey, Carmine, what's up?" Oh God, is it that time? Are you here to tell me the bad news? I'm like, bad
No, I
news.
don't. I typically say the good news. I typically say the good news. I go,
Wait, you
is it
want George
coming
R. R. Martin
out?
to die? What do you mean?
No. Carmine's fucking with you. Carmine's making it up. I say the opposite. I'm like, the book's out. The book's out.
That too.
He's like, no. He's like, what? And Carmine always goes. He goes, what? What have you heard? And I'm like, I'm asking you.
Oh my god!
like,
Sometimes Carmine's like, "Dude, did you see the news?" And I'm like, "Oh fuck!" And then it's nothing. It's like
well,
literally
you guys,
fucking.
You guys
nothing.
are crazy.
Yeah.
You make it sound like I'm the bearer of bad news. I'm the bearer of good news, and this is so. I'll hop this up because this is fucking hilarious. I get on social media and I see Bigfoot trending. I'm like, oh, good, they found the guy. Turns out the opposite, and it's all from Trey. Everyone's quote tweeting him. It's all from Trey, and homie, that was some of the best. That was probably one of the funniest conversations I've ever had with somebody.
Well, okay, I guess I should start from the beginning if you want me to talk about.
Are you cool with it, Preston?
Yeah.
Okay, Preston, have you heard the news about Bigfoot?
Carmine very briefly told me that like the Mormons have a special Bigfoot history, and that's all he told me.
Okay. Well, I was going to start from the beginning. The reason I even brought it up to Carmine in the first place is that there's recent Bigfoot news that the Patterson-Gimlin film, which is the famous like walking away from the camera.
Yeah.
There is a documentary that was screened at a Texas film festival. And it's only been screened there. It hasn't been screened anywhere else. These are the guys working on streaming services and stuff, distributors, where he revealed that at his university that he teaches at or something like that, one of his colleagues, her dad died and left her a safe. And inside the safe was undeveloped film from 1967. And it turned out, they developed it, and it turned out it's test footage of the Patterson-Gimlin film. Like it's the same suit, it's all the same guys, and it's legitimate from 1967 of them testing out the suit and preparing the
100% proving it was a hoax. Yeah.
Yes. According to the people that have seen it, because it's only been screened at this thing, I've emailed the director to try to get to talk to him, and he's like, I'll talk to you when it's closer to the release schedule. But the people that were there was a Bigfoot YouTuber that attended it, and he just posts a video. Carmine, should I send Preston the image, the thumbnail from his video?
Do it. Preston.
Where he's,
oh man.
The guy is like devastated. He like is just like he looks like he's like in there, and he's just like, it's over.
Do you mind talking about the?
It's like Nick Fuentes guy? These days, you know. Have you seen him? He's just like, oh god.
Trey, do you mind talking about the expert guy?
Oh, I'll talk about the here we go. Here's I'm sending it to you on Discord, so I don't know if you'll see it right now, but yeah, he just is like, and the guy, like, I watched the video. It's a good video where he's talking about seeing the documentary's immediate reaction. He's like, it's the suit. It's 100% the same Bigfoot costume and stuff. And this is a guy that's devoted his YouTube channel to Bigfoot. So
gotcha.
It's a big so he was like, it's legit. Like, and it's not just that. Like, the director apparently interviews Patterson's son and wife, who are still alive. Patterson's dead, but his wife and son are still alive. So they talk. Yeah, there's the image. And so this guy, his whole channel is like Bigfoot Road or something like that. And this is his life is talking about Bigfoot. And he's just like, it's over.
Good for him that he was like, finally like, okay, it's a hoax. Like, you know, all the other stuff for being conspiracy theory forever. Because there are people that still, they'd be like, no, this is like a government cover up or something. Like, they would come up with something.
His comments are filled with people saying like, it's going to be AI. This director's a hack. This director like is lying. Patterson's family is lying. Like that. One of his arguments was like, why is Patterson's family flipping now? Like, apparently, like what's that all like? Why would they change? And they're like, well, they're getting paid off. Like, it's like, well, they're making royalties on the film. So why would they get rid of their bread and
Right,
butter.
right.
Like there's all, and anyway, and in the documentary, they apparently show the film to several notable Bigfoot experts. One that died recently that I interviewed while he was still alive, and he was a very famous Bigfoot expert. And he apparently starts tearing up and he says that's a tough pill to swallow or something like that. And that's big coming from him because he's like the last Bigfoot expert that has scientific credentials.
Bigfoot expert.
Bigfoot expert.
Trey, you told me this guy, this expert person. I don't know if you want to say his name.
Well,
but
I won't. I'll say it off the record, right? I didn't say his name, right? Like,
no, you did.
Maybe
I won't say anything.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't say his name, but I discovered kind of through him about Mormonism's connection to Bigfoot, which is fascinating. I was unaware of Mormonism's connection to Bigfoot until this conversation, and yeah, so Mormons believe. Maybe I shouldn't say all Mormons. I'm saying there's a population of Mormons that believe that Bigfoot was encountered by one of the early founders of Mormonism, like not Joseph Smith, not Brigham Young, but another guy. Let me get his name. Mormonism. I'll find it real quick. Bigfoot. Like, what is
all
his
I remember
name?
Is that he's an apostle, which we're
yes,
reading Berserk
Apostle
right
David
now?
W. Patton. Apostle David W. Patton. Apparently, yes, he's an apostle like Berserk.
This is funny because there's let me grab this book over here. Hold on. But there's this book I have here, which is Lamb by Christopher Moore, and it's about like what Jesus does between like his childhood and his adulthood. And at one point, he like meets the Yeti. He meets the Yeti in the Himalayas, and there's like a whole thing about him meeting a Yeti. And I don't know, like, and it was just very random, but he's like, okay. But anyway, I just kind of thought of that too, like connecting, like why Jesus would be meeting a Yeti, why Joseph Smith is related to like a Bigfoot. Is he's like a descendant of Cain or something like that?
How did you get that?
Everything's a descendant of Cain. They're always like, oh God, he's evil. He's a descendant of Cain.
Wait. So Trey, so Bigfoot is a descendant of Cain, or he is Cain with immortality?
He is Cain. Sorry.
The fact that he is Cain, that's different than normally.
He is Cain. Like Cain is cursed with the mark of Cain. Like for people in the Bible, like this is a thing that the mark of Cain is cursed. Like Cain kills Abel, and God curses him with the mark of Cain, and he's sent to wander the earth. And traditionally, a lot of Christians claim that like African people, like black people, are the descendants of Cain, and the mark of Cain is black skin. But Mormons were interesting in the sense that they believed that he was like a hairy man, like a hairy naked man that wanders the earth. And so this Mormon founder, Apostle Patton, his name it was, encountered the living Cain that was wandering the earth in the countryside in North America, and had a conversation with him about like sin and all kinds of stuff.
Bigfoot knows English.
And Bigfoot knows English. And so there are Bigfoot proponents, Bigfoot believers who happen to be Mormon that take that story as evidence and use that as evidence.
I mean, on the one hand, I mean, I kind of am not surprised, and only because, you know, when you're talking about like middle America, Americana, and like history and pseudo history and things like that, you know, there's a weird human desperation to feel like you're connected to the land and connected around you to your environment. It's very strange. And when I say this, I mean like when you go out west and you're in Albuquerque, New Mexico, all of a sudden, like white people are dressing like American Indians, and they're all bragging about how they're like, they have American Indian descendants and shit like that. And you're like, no, you don't. But all of a sudden there's this need, this feeling that they want to be connected to their surroundings, that like they're of that place. Like no one wants to feel like an outsider. my brother-in-law is an archaeologist in Jordan, and he was digging up like Moabites, and over time, like he noticed that like as the area became more and more famous, like the cafes started getting called like Moab Cafe, and then you start talking to the Jordanians, and they're like, "Oh yes, I feel like my Moabite blood in me," and he's just like, "No, there's like no Moabite blood in you." Like there's been like movements of people all over the place, like killing people off, like the people that currently live in Jordan are not Moabites. It's like, don't worry about it. Like,
People
but
do
there's
that with
this,
Egyptian too. Egyptian and like
yeah,
Greek and Turkish. You're right that you feel you need a connection to the ancestors of a land, even though you're not the
even though
direct
right.
descendants.
And so, considering that like there is this weird Americana pseudo history of Bigfoot, like throughout the United States, especially, I mean, in that middle portion, on the same level as say like Paul Bunyan, as like a like a folk hero of some sort. I'm surprised they don't have a story about Paul Bunyan, or some like weird American thing, like if it were the right region, they'd be like, oh, we need to have something related to Brer Rabbit and Brer Fox or something, like a real like local oral tradition, like Americana stories. And so, I mean, Mormonism is that, right? Like Mormonism is
Yeah.
this idea that like, well, I'm into Jesus, but I'm into America. How do I meld these two ideas of America and Jesus? Like,
You gotta have
how do I pull it off?
The Garden of Eden is in Jacksonville, Mississippi. Like that's how you do it.
Right,
Boom.
golden plates and Jesus visiting the American Indians and all this stuff. Like how do I put my chocolate and my peanut butter together to create something that like is like for me. So yeah, like on the one hand, it's like weird and funny, but on the other hand, it's like as weird as anything else in religion, and it makes sense with like this desire to like combine everything.
Trey was telling me like the history of like Mormonism and stuff. I just could not stop laughing. I'm like, there's no way this is real, like, because I don't really know much
It's
about them and what they believe. Kinda, not really. I know
it's
the magic
kind of
underwear.
intentional too. I think it's
Hmm.
kind of intentional because like yes, like all the stuff with the origins of Mormonism is pretty easy to access. Like that's the thing with Joseph Smith. He was a relatively recent existing person. He's not like Jesus. He's not like Muhammad, who's a little bit more hazy. Like
Yeah.
like Joseph Smith was a guy that lived in upstate New York. He lived in and he went to court. He got convicted of fraud and stuff. Like there's a paper trail. People interviewed his neighbors and stuff. It's like
Wait a
it's
minute. He
very
was a scam
strange.
artist. He was a con man.
Yeah. He was a convicted con man.
Americans would never fall for a con man.
Dude, I said the same thing, dude.
You did make the comparison.
How
Oh man.
you want to think that like 200 years later or 100 and so many years later we're smarter than this, but I guess not.
It's funny too, where like Joseph Smith has like convinced, like his teachings have convinced like Pacific Islanders that they are Jewish and stuff. Like
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
fascinating that like it's worked. It's worked far beyond the scope that he thought it would work. Like he didn't know about
Right.
Pacific Islanders.
I'm also
Oh,
like, I mean, so even on the streets here in Santo Domingo, I see Mormons doing their little missions and converting
mm,
people. I mean, it's sometimes it's other Dominicans who are like going around. It's not Americans necessarily here. Sometimes it's clearly Dominicans, and somehow convincing like Dominicans that like that's Joseph Smith and his golden plates like were totally a thing. So I don't know. It's
yeah.
impressive. It's impressive.
It is impressive. It is impressive to do that within less than 200 years, right? Like it's pretty crazy. Um, oh, before I stop talking, people are going to point out that you left out an incident in Duncan Egg's life
Oh
from the World
no.
Book. It's
Which one?
there's like this random thing about like the death of Daron's daughter. Daron has like a simple-minded daughter or something,
He
and she
does.
dies in like a ball with like masked characters. Like she dies in a masked ball, like called like the
The
pig,
fox,
the yes,
the
something like
hawk, the
that.
fox. Oh, you're right.
So that's very clearly something that George is like, I want to set something up here. I want to have a masked ball story.
Yeah, you're kind of right. Not fucking got to redo the whole fucking video now. Fuck. It spent all of
Preston,
that time.
I actually asked you about this. Do you think this is like I know George probably wanted to do like a I don't know where I read this, but the murder mystery thing. I thought it was in King's Landing at the Red Keep, but you said it was maybe Essos. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm sorry. What? Say that again.
The murder mystery stuff that we talked about briefly. Was that at the Red Keep or is that Essos?
The murder mystery, like
Yeah, there was
Framed
a murder.
Snow, or what are you talking about?
No, I'll have to dig this back up. Maybe I
Joffrey.
spoke. No, maybe I spoke about this with Elio and I forgot to tell you. Never mind.
Okay.
I'll dig it
Okay.
back up.
All right. So
We
Vela
might be talking about this.
Targaryen. Um, Vela the Simple, daughter of Daron the Drunkard. King Maekar died in the battle rebel against the Lord Great Council, called Settle.
Trey, you like that edit I sent you?
Which edit? Let me see. Did you send me
Look
something?
at this, Corey. You like that
Let's
edit?
see. That is pretty funny. That's pretty good, Karma.
I sent it to Preston too, but Preston, don't put that up though, because people will kick my ass for that.
I'm trying to look at.
Let me see. The rat, the hawk, and the pig. Sometime between 217 and 221, 3 men attacked a Laura Targaryen. Oh, it's the daughter of Rhaegal and Alice Arryn. So it's the old one of the brothers. The masked ball. She committed suicide soon
Okay,
after.
so
there you go.
that would be, man. Okay, so if you put it in 221, all right. So you'd have that be
And these characters.
6,
Oh,
and then the Blackfire
and
the
Preston,
Blackfire Rebellion with the next one.
Preston, they apparently come back. In 251, the trio lead a rebellion that was crushed by Daron Targaryen, like Egg's son. Daron perished in the final battle alongside his lover, Sir Jeremy Norridge, but the rebels were slain and hanged. Yeah, that's definitely going to be a story, right? Like,
all right. So you're okay. So fuck.
Like they apparently killed this princess and then got away and then started rebellion like 30
back.
years later.
All right. So rather than a Westerlands uprising. Okay. So before the Sellsword and the Third Blackfire Rebellion in 219, or maybe even after, you can have the rat, the hawk, and the pig. And then maybe no Egg's marriage and summoning to court would not be a... Yeah, so that means... All right. Yeah, I'm with you on that. The rat, the hawk, and the pig are a story. Because you're right that it's just like such a random fucking... There's like so much information given on the names of shit that like he clearly has something in mind. Okay. So then either Egg's marriage or Aenys' death or their summoning to court would be a whole fucking thing. And then Aerian's hatching. And then 251, that's so late. So that's like the 14, like the story before Summerhall. The second
that's the thing
story.
is like these villains are 30 years older. You know, these villains are gonna be in their 50s. Like they're gonna be like Dunk, where they're elderly. You're like, what?
Right.
Oh, it's so strange.
But
I can see them say
the pig return.
I could see like maybe Dunk's there at the ball and then they get away and he like vows vengeance on getting them back. Like he's like, I will find you someday, and then he finally catches them. but at the cost of Egg's son, his gay son. I love my gay son.
That's a Heather's reference right there.
Heather's reference.
I love my dead gay son.
Egg says, "I love my dead gay son."
Okay, so that means, does the tourney at Blackhaven get cut, or does the Westerlands Uprising get cut? But one of the two, if we're really talking about 5 stories. But you're right that I would probably put the Rat and the Hawk and the Pig's Return as a story as well. Oh, I guess the Leda Rebellion. I guess they could be the Westerlands Rebellion.
Yeah, they could be the Westerlands.
That could be the Westerlands Uprising in 251.
Ira Parker's watching this right now. Take notes. Take notes. This is it.
I love that George has these epic villains that he's going to keep around for this long. Like, whoa.
I hate making mistakes like this because it's just like, fuck.
Sorry, I should have butted in a little earlier. I wanted to wait until you were done talking. Then I saw a comment. I saw a comment talk about it, and I was like, oh, I should tell Preston.
I mean, before I deleted all the fucking things.
Sorry.
That took me forever to put up.
So Trey, I did it was less an interview, more of a conversation with Elio. And in it, Elio revealed to me that I still don't know if this is like a major thing. Arian has a lot more information because you and I had this conversation about Arian in the podcast. And there's a lot of yet unwritten stuff on paper about Arian that George is just like waiting to dig out. Yes.
Oh,
so
interesting. I wish you would talk about it. I want Arian to be.
This is why it makes me think that Arian's hatching has to be a fucking. It has to be a fucking thing. Because I was reading the World Book again, and I was like, oh, okay. They like make a note that at some point Arian becomes Prince of Dragonstone, and you're like, well, obviously, but why is that made a point? Oh, because he needs to go to Dragonstone to get the eggs, to want to hatch the eggs, like that kind of thing.
Now this makes sense. In the East, he can learn about magic stuff and come back. Right. That actually makes a lot of sense.
Right. So he's like, he's purposely like sent to the East, learns dark arts, comes back, is then made Prince of Dragonstone, gets a hold of eggs, then tries to hatch them.
And we do hear him being on the same page with Bloodraven during one of the rebellions. Yeah, we do.
Yeah. No, he and Bloodraven are not enemies. Yeah, it seems.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he and Bloodraven both wanted Bittersteel executed. And Egg's like, no, I'll just send him to the wall.
That's interesting. I kind of did. Did you hear my sort of thing that I wanted Arian to come back from the East, and he was like reformed. He was actually like a really cool guy,
a really great guy. He's like,
he's like that Maekar was actually right.
Like they come back and they're just best friends because it happens all the time in like literature, specifically like anime. Like the antagonist comes back and he's like the best friend or the staunch ally of the main character,
right? Like Rocky Balboa and Apollo Creed. These rivals become friends. Friends become lovers.
He was like, it was a long time ago. I'm sorry, Sir Duncan. I was a little different back then. I was so it becomes tragic that he drank the wildfire. It was a tragic thing.
Well, I do wonder if Arian is actually on the right track, and then someone convinces him at the last moment that no, the thing he needs to do is drink the wildfire, not use the wildfire on the eggs or whatever.
Time traveling Bran, of course. It had to be.
But yeah, it's funny though, looking at the list again though, because how many of the stories have stuff come back, like Lionel Baratheon coming back, from the Hedge Knight, or Otho Bracken coming back. The Blackfire Rebellions coming back.
Bennis has to come back.
Yeah,
Bennis of the Brown Shield.
Yeah. Blackfire Rebellion's coming back. Rat Hawk and the Pig coming back, So, and Summerhall is essentially just Arian's hatching attempt coming back, So.
Maybe maybe Village Hero has Bennis of the Brown Shield coming back.
I mean, you're just making me sad because you're like, oh, that'd be great.
Stop it, Preston. Have faith. He's writing it right now. That's why
maybe Bennis the Brown is like the rat, the hawk, or the pig.
He's like, I'm going against you, Duncan, after that minor argument that we had in this middle of nowhere town. I'm gonna take over the kingdom.
It's so funny. So I reread the Sworn Sword a few days ago, and I'm just like reading it from the beginning. I'm like, Sir Bennis is correct. If everyone just listened to Sir Bennis at the beginning of the story, everything would have been fine. Because he's just like, let's not make a big deal out of it. And if no one had made a big deal out of it, it just would have fucking rained and everything would have been fucking fine. The rain is coming. They just need to do nothing until it rains, right? And Bennis is like, I think we should leave this alone. No, let's make a big deal. Let's go tell. We've got to be honest with Sir Eustace. No, just do nothing. If they only just listened to Sir Bennis, Lucas Longinch would be alive.
Oh my god. Yeah, you're right. You're so right that he's literally like, leave enough alone, Dunk. And you're right that it would have been resolved peacefully just by the rain. Nobody would have to do anything.
Sir Bennis, he's so wise. He's so wise.
I love what Man Band says here. We had a good thing going, but you and your pride and your ego.
Your pride and your ego.
Preston, have faith. Don't be sad. George is probably writing it right now. It's why he's not doing a blog post. There's no blog post on Dunk and Egg for some reason. That's what I
crazy.
Believe.
Yeah. I'm sure. He's finishing up a Driven Spring right now, and he's just
let's
putting
not
the
be finishing
touches on that 15th Dunk and Egg story.
Let's not be crazy now. Village Hero.
Fire and Blood Volume 2, all done. And Avalon's finished.
Avalon, the tough voyaging. He has a tough sequel.
He's got the third, the Space Ring series that he only made 2 stories in that universe.
Trey, I forgot to ask Elio about Avalon. I should probably ask him right now.
Come on.
I forgot. I'm sorry.
Elio says that he's not really interested in Thousand Worlds stuff, right? Ask him if Tuff was going to come back, because I was I always kind of thought maybe Tuff's going to come back in the Avalon. Avalon's going to be all these amazing characters coming back.
Preston, someone wants me to point out to you that perhaps the rat, the hawk, and the pig are probably Dunk's childhood friends, Raph, Ferret, and Pudding. Not in the show. Maybe in the books, not in the show.
It's true.
I mean, that would be ridiculous. But, yeah. 30 years apart, it may be that they're different individuals with the same names.
Like Robin Hood, I guess.
What's the explanation in the show for Dunk's future insanity, in your opinion? That his brother bullied him and the trauma made him insane later? No, I mean, and it's not that I blame the show too much, because I do think that the Hedge Knight makes a great story on its own, and that it's definitely George's plan to have Egg go crazy and do Summerhall. So in a sense, it's George's plan to ruin the Hedge Knight as a story. I get it. But
come back.
But it's kind of the same problem that we have with Viserys, right? We're stuck in this situation where Viserys on the one hand is made crazy by the fact that he lived this tough life, being paranoid, running from city to city, and that made him crazy. But then Barristan comes in and he's like, nah, he was crazy from the start. And you're like, well, then what is it? Are we, is it experience or is he just insane? should we think that if Viserys had a nice life with his loving mom and everything, that he would have been a good kid in the end, or was he just going to be bad no matter what? And so it's sad here is that, yeah, it just seems like George's plan is for just Egg. It didn't matter. Egg was just going to be crazy no matter what, which kind of is just like, which I do think defeats the entire message of the Hedge Knight, that like George like steps on his own toes there. Like, which do you believe in? Do you believe in like free will and the ability of people to change, or do you believe that just like we're born the way we are? And then in the end, he's just like, well, we're born the way we are, which is okay to say if it's in the context of Ice and Fire, which turns it on its head to say that no, people can change. But it's the fact that we're not going to get an end to Ice and Fire, but we do kind of know the end of Dunk and Egg, makes me kind of sad that it's like so deterministic. Unless we find out at Summerhall that actually Dunk and Egg both secretly survive and they just go out the back door and
who freaking died at Summerhall then? Nobody.
Nobody.
You know, like, how many people do we know actually died in Summerhall? Like,
supposedly it was going to be Dunk Egg, Duncan the Small, Jenny of Oldstones. And is that it?
Yeah, it was okay. The fire left, resulting in several deaths, including Aegon V, his eldest son and heir Duncan the Small, Lord Command. Wait, this is wrong. So they need to update the wiki. The Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, Duncan the Tall. But like, this might not be true,
right?
Because it's just like people assumed it to be true.
Oh no. Julio actually, he answered that. I asked him. Preston, do you remember that when I asked him and he answered us? Or
he
answered
said
me at least.
Information as the people in the kingdom know it as.
Right.
Oh,
so for
okay.
example,
necessarily the truth. Like saying that Jon
exactly.
Snow is the bastard son of Ned Stark.
Ned Stark, but we the audience know otherwise, I guess. So it's as the world at large knows it.
Okay. Jenny might have died there too.
Well,
Jenny
I mean, considering
Goldstone.
that like the ghost of High Heart is so upset about it, it sounds like Jenny has died.
Okay.
And I suppose we're supposed to think that Corso the Maester, died.
Last Maester to serve. Why do we know about Corso? Who the heck is Corso?
Corso, everybody loves Corso, man. Corso, what a Maester.
Describing the tragedy before his death. Oh, okay. And then he died. Okay, he made it out. Like, he made it out of the fire and was narrating what happened inside to somebody else.
I just, it's just
Corso.
that's a bit much to think. Like, before his death, so he survived actually.
Okay. Corso.
But Corso's letter, but I mean, how much did he survive? Years? Was he like covered in burns, and then he's like, get me that quill and ink. Like, writing was very difficult back then. I mean,
yeah, you had to drink the ink dry.
I was like, I do love the joke.
Like
where Brienne like finishes the page and then like turns it. You're like, oh no. No, Brienne, what were you doing?
The white book's ruined.
The white book's ruined.
Okay, I always wondered how the white book works. Do they add pages? Like okay, they have the white book. Did they just know that they would be around for such a long time that they have like tons of extra pages? They had the extra pages built in, or do they add pages over time? It's a lot of pages.
Now, how? By the way, I recently saw a video with a woman. Speaking of your lost books like video, Trey has a great lost books video, but it's interesting that I saw a video recently where a woman was saying that like, no, the burning of the library at Alexandria is not why we lost all of this information. Okay, like
Yeah.
it's mainly that like when you have X number of resources and X number of scribes, and they're going to copy over the books they think are important, which is why we have a million copies of Augustine and like like these Christian writers around 400 AD, like but like you're a monk and you're like, well, what do I want to copy over? Like you also have these like personal preferences. I've got to spend a year copying over a book. Do I want to copy over like this bullshit like Roman pagan like architecture book, or do I want to copy over like
do you want to
nice
copy the
Christian
positive history
text?
Do you want to copy the positive histories of Nero, like
right? Like, do I want to copy like
positive
I literally hate Nero because he burned, he hurt, fed Christians to dogs after the fire. Do I want to copy over a positive history of him, or do I want to copy over Aquinas? Like well, clearly like the things you're into. So that's a weird thing that like people's bias went into like what was saved, obviously, even on a subconscious level. But yeah,
people are saying the white book must be a 3-ring binder. They just pop it open, put an extra page in.
well, I'm saying like, how long do books last before they rot? When do you have to do a copy over? Is it about once a century?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm trying to think. Okay, I'm looking. This is a summary here. Okay, evidence indicates a useful life of a manuscript was between 100 and 200 years for the majority of volumes. So
the white book in the current story has to be at least the second iteration.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So like at some point, like, he talks about seeing Sir Barristan's handwriting and Sir Gerald Hightower's handwriting before that. But like at some point, like somebody had to like just be like, fuck it. I've got to redo the whole thing. And who knows, like when, what pages Rhaenyra and Alicent are tearing out, in the courtyard.
It could also be it's just like one giant book, and most of the Kingsguard didn't really do anything crazy, with the exception of who's that Kingsguard for Viserys that supposedly took over, but they never.
Ryan
Redwine didn't write his pages.
A couple pages for them.
Up.
George is finishing his story on Ryan Redwine, like as we speak. He's like, oh right, I forgot to put anything about Ryan Redwine.
So the blog
put this in the middle of Fire and Blood. These Carmine, 50 pages.
Kind of genius. That's kind of genius that the explanation is that we don't know why Ryan Redwine was great because it was never written down. It's all oral tradition. Like that's why Bran knows about it. That's why Bran knows about it. But I guess the Mace. Oh, you're
Ryan
right,
was
right.
So humble. He was such a great knight that he was so humble. He didn't want to talk himself up, so he never wrote down his own deeds in the White Book.
There it is. Preston saving the series again.
The perfect night.
Great, but a bad hand. A bad hand. Why?
Why didn't he write down that? What did he do that was so bad? What a horrible hand. What did he do again? I don't know. What he was a great knight. What did he do? I don't know.
If I manage to get that interview with Condal, I'll ask him like, why didn't you include the red wine stuff in the show? Just because I know for a fact that he doesn't like being asked about nettles. Nettles is something he does not like being asked about. But Ryan Redwine, why not? That's a fair question.
He'll be like, who?
No, stop it. He knows.
What's the worst house? No cop-out answers. I mean...
House Cod.
No. I don't even think it's House Cod. I would argue that Greyjoy is a worse house than Cod.
Because...
Really?
because
yeah.
Why? Why?
all decent men despise the Cods.
No, but like the Cods, like, look, the reaving way of life is the most destructive, like idiotic, like way to go. You can't exist reaving all the fucking time.
That's
Okay. And like
sustainable.
constantly being at war and not having
Not paying for
not
stuff,
paying for
not using
stuff and
money.
shit like that. Like more damage was done by Balon Greyjoy and fucking um Dagon and Aaron himself, like his preaching about the old ways, and Euron is a piece of shit. Like House Greyjoy just did more damage. Like their thought and way of life is just not, you know, like allowable with any modern society. The fact that that I'm looking at this backward medieval society of where I'm just like, oh my god, like the way they do arranged marriages and what they think chivalry is, and you know, monarchy and all this bullshit and trials by combat and all this fucking horrible shit. First right to the less, like Lord's right to the first night. All of these horrible things, and then you compare it to, then you look at the Greyjoys and you're like, man, that's so much better than the Greyjoys. Like the Greyjoys, like you're talking about a lifestyle of like kidnapping people into effective slavery. I understand the thralls aren't slaves; they're fucking slaves. Okay, like kidnapping people to make them slaves, kidnapping women to make them, and raping them to make them your wife. Never paying for shit. Like
And that
constantly
paying for
being
shit
at
is like
war.
weakness. That paying for shit is weak. That you should be demeaned for paying for shit.
Yeah,
You just take it.
right.
Well,
No,
here's
but
my one
Greyjoy
counter to
is
that.
the worst house. Now COD, they're just getting by in the world that exists for them. No famous COD did anything like that bad. I mean, I could probably look it up. Like, was there a horrible COD?
Everyone hates the Greyjoys, but even the Greyjoys hate House Cod. That's
It
all.
does. It doesn't matter about who's liked. I mean, House COD might be liked for disliked for bad reasons. Maybe they bought shit, and everyone's like, "Oh fuck, House COD." They went and they fucking bought shit.
No, you know what? Knowing the Ironborn, yes, okay, that's a fair point.
You
They
know,
bought stuff.
Preston, I'm looking at like a Reddit post where somebody asked this question. Nobody lists Greyjoy, and you're 100% right.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
Greyjoy.
we don't plant
Greyjoy's,
crops.
yeah.
Did
They're
We
the
don't
House
worst.
plant
Peak
crops.
pop
We
up
steal from other
because
people.
did House
Bolton.
Peak
People
pop
say
up in that
Bolton.
post? Bolton.
Yeah, but Bolton is just two guys. Like, I don't know, like if it's like part of their entire. Like, apparently, Bruce Bolton's son was his trueborn son was a pretty great guy. You know, like
Domeric.
Dahmer. Yeah. So, you know, but yeah, no, but
And you
great.
can't even say that about House
Bracken.
Frey, because like there's some Freys that are pretty good. What's the Frey they sent away before the Red Wedding happened? I forgot his name. He was pretty nice, apparently. Honorable guy. Fuck, I forgot his name.
Sent away a lot of
Frey?
phrase. You're talking
Oliver
about
Frey, something like that.
I think it was Oliver Frey. He was a nice boy.
Somebody said House Slint. Okay, that's pretty good because it's like one person. It's one guy who's a piece of shit. So I guess you could say that. We don't know.
I guess
about
you
his
could say
son.
House Peak,
Maybe his
but even
son's
House
cool.
Peak, I would say they're the most unluckiest house. It seems like they're on the wrong side of every conflict they've ever been a part of ever.
we don't know. We just don't know enough about them. They could be awesome.
House 20 Goodman. House Goodman. Somebody says.
100 years to coin a phrase. Yes, we're gonna have 15 fucking seasons. 15 seasons.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, can you make a Venn diagram of the three kind of conservative based on your previous statement? Selfish assholes, religious freaks, and idiots. Yeah, I think it's no, it's my 3 word. It was fucking assholes, religious freaks, and I'm sorry, fucking no, selfish assholes. Was it fucking what? No, it's not. It is. Yeah, I'm sorry. Selfish assholes, religious freaks, and what was the third? It's not just idiots. It's
It's like sadists. Like
No, I think I had like self. No, I think it's selfish pricks, fucking
Mm.
assholes, and religious freaks. That was the three. Now that's coming back to me. Selfish pricks, fucking assholes, and religious freaks. And here's the difference between it. It's I mean, there's got to be a it's got to be a perfect like there's of course crossover. So you're gonna have like um the three circles and then the center one. But like the selfish assholes are the ones that are just thinking about themselves and their own like what's profitable for them. Like that's I mean selfish pricks. They're just worried about like low taxes and like whether or not like these people pushing like AI or crypto or whatever. Like if it was profitable for them to save the environment, they would, but it's not. They're just like fucking trying to get their money and they do not care about anybody else. Then there's fucking assholes. Fucking assholes actively want to cause harm to other people. Like the people that
Mm.
are like the guy that like wants to own the libs. Um, he's a fucking asshole. He's not really interested in like selfishness because he will do shit that is against his own best interest often. He just wants to like cause pain to other people. They want to like own the libs. These are the people that like want to bomb Iran for no reason other than to kill people. Like they're just like fuck them.
Mm.
And you're like, how does that help you? It hurts you, doesn't it? Doesn't matter. Fuck them. And then the religious freaks who are you know
Trying to bring on the apocalypse,
bring around the
they're
apocalypse, told by their pastor that like the
Having
Bible is
conversations
against
with Bigfoot.
abortion when there's nothing in fact the Bible actually implies the opposite, stuff like that. Um, do you know that the Old Testament is actually extremely pro-choice? Because like
oh,
when you read like laws in Leviticus, like there's very specific laws about like if you uh like hit a woman and cause her and she's pregnant and she miscarries, you have to like pay her some silver, like 40 pieces of silver or whatever. Like it's very specific that like um fetuses are property. Um so it's
there's also a weird ritual in the book of Numbers that's like to determine if somebody committed adultery. That is basically like, I gotta read it. It's like basically like they give a woman this weird water, and she if she miscarries, that means it's like it was a product of adultery, and if she doesn't, it was a valid child. Like there's ritualized like killing of babies. Yes, like Numbers
yeah.
5:11 to 31, the test for an unfaithful for wife, um, where they basically do a an abortion, a ritualized abortion. Yeah, she'll have to take holy water in a clay jar and put some dust from the tabernacle floor into the water. After the priest has the woman stand before the Lord, she should loosen her hair, place her hands or mind her off her. He himself holds the bitter water that brings a curse. Then the priest shall put the woman under oath. If no other man has had sexual relations with you and you had not gone astray while married, may this bitter water that brings a curse not harm you. But if you have gone astray, my cat's getting in the way. You while married to your husband, you have been impure, have sexual relations. The priest put the curse on the woman. So it's like a ritualized curse. May the Lord cause you to become cursed.
And
Makes
so
your
because
womb miscarry.
she's drinking dirty water, there is a chance she'll
Yeah.
get sick.
So there's like, yeah, there's probably like some vaguely scientific basis to this.
It's like a
Yeah.
coin toss of whether or not.
Makes
Yeah.
your womb miscarry and your abdomen swell. May this water that brings a curse into your body so that your abdomen swells and your womb miscarries. So it's like, that's a ritualized abortion,
Yeah.
and it's not brought up by religious
Good
people. I have
times.
never
Good
seen a
times.
Christian quote that. Never seen a Christian quote that because it's
Ah,
Right.
I
it's Old
love the Bible
Testament
with the
stuff.
boys.
So I'm
Bible
like,
with the
not you,
boys,
not
my
you.
cat.
You're not the selfish prick here. But yes, the idea is that it's selfish prick, fucking asshole, and um, uh, religious freak. These are
Worlds combined.
these are your three these are your three groups that
Preston, I will tell you this. I spoke to Kyle about this earlier, and he wants me to let you know that he wants you to draw a diagram in the shape of a penis to highlight these guys to show what they truly are. So
yeah. But yeah, I mean, obviously obviously there's a lot of overlap, but not everybody has these overlaps. Like not every person that is a selfish asshole is like whatever the head of the I mean the Palantir guy is kind of a religious zealot, but I'm thinking like the guy who's in charge of AI, he's not he's just a selfish prick or whatever.
Sam Altman, you mean?
Sam Altman, yeah. So, what the fuck is a Lamy? Lamy is just named after one of the characters from Night Flyers.
It's
Lamy.
it's a very good delivery from the show when the Hound is like very honestly, what the fuck is a Lamy?
What the fuck is a Lamy? Green hands.
Lamy Thorn? Thale
Yeah, Lamy
Lassiver?
Thorn is from the from Night
Lamy
Flyers.
Thorn is like the gross one, right? She's like the dirty one.
She's
that's
gross,
like,
but she's also the one that can like interface with the, she's a cyborg kind of. She can interface into the computer by herself.
I love it when we just whip out Thousand Worlds names. Like we just hear the name.
Yeah.
Bethane.
What's weird is the Lamy Thorn that they made in the TV show was actually like nothing like that Lamy. But Arian's Wildfire is a parlor trick gone wrong. That'd be funny. He's just being a good, nice guy, and he's like, "I'm gonna drink it." No, I'm not. Are you
check this shit out? Oh fuck!
Maybe he was just trying to drink some wine and like Dunk switches the glasses.
Dunk kills him. He's like, I need this guy removed from the line of inheritance. Because that's the thing. He almost, like, if people don't bring this up, is that he almost accedes the throne. Like he dies like a year or something before he almost becomes king.
That's right.
Before his father dies. So the timing's very strange.
Timing is very.
And this guy's a buddy of Bloodraven, so it can't really be Bloodraven, right? Unless Bloodraven turned on him.
Yeah.
All these theories. That stuff yet to come.
What's the point if Dunk wins every duel? That's the thing. I do think there's like too many duels. I think it gets to be a little like how many really is Dunk gonna have like 15 important duels in his fucking life or whatever?
Is he gonna have a duel in Seawolves?
I don't know. I would guess no. I would guess no, because he I mean he doesn't have a duel in Mystery Night. But I would guess no. I would guess it would be Lamy Snow versus like one of the Starks, Torrin or Krieger Stark. But we know that he has a duel with Lionel, and we know he has a duel with one of the Blackfires. So with Daemon the Third. So we know that these duels seem to come up a bit. That's a very good point, Gecko. Oh, in A Storm of Swords, Tywin genuinely denies Elia and the kids. Why lie? Let me see here. I've got to pull up the quote. I imagine in Storm this is a Tyrion chapter.
I think it's before Tyrion's trial, like trial by combat.
Oh, right.
It brings it up that this is the real motive of Tywin killing Elia, like Tywin ordering Elia's death is like a kind of revenge.
Oh, right. Well, certainly Oberyn believes that.
Oh, okay. They're saying that Tywin like tells Tyrion that it was a mistake to kill Elia.
Right.
He does tell Tyrion that it was a mistake to kill Elia. He said that she was no threat. So yeah.
Prince Doran comes at my son's invitation, Lord Tywin said calmly, not only to join in our celebration, but to claim his seat on the council. And the justice Robert denied him for the murder of his sister Elia and her children. Tyrion washed the faces of the lords Tyrell, Redwine, and Rowan, wondering if any of these three would be bold enough to say, "But Tywin, wasn't it you who presented the bodies to Robert, all wrapped in a Lannister cloak?" None of them did, but it was on their faces all the same. Redwine does not give a fig, though, he thought, but Rowan looks fit to gag. Or does he have? Does he have?
He definitely tells Tyrion that
In private.
like you can't throw that on me. You can't. Yeah. And it does sound earnest. I always interpreted it as pretty earnest from him, but people are saying that he might be just like lying to Tyrion because he's so insecure about himself that he can't admit it to Tyrion. Like I've liked your going over videos once you've reached Tywin, because you see how like you reinterpret Tywin as a character, like him shaving his head is like him being very insecure about his appearance, as opposed to like Tyrion. He's like, he didn't believe in half measures, and it's like actually,
Right.
yeah. Unlike his brother, like unlike Kevin leaves his appearance just as he is. Like he leaves his receding hairline. He doesn't
Yeah,
care.
I mean, it is very funny because on the one hand, I think you can read the story and be like, oh, there's an inconsistent portrayal of Kevin because like Kevin just looks like an idiot, and then when you get in Kevin's head, you're like, actually, Kevin's fucking really smart. And you're like, oh, this is just Tyrion's perception of Kevin. Like Tyrion perceives Kevin as an idiot because he weirdly hates and worships his father at the same time. And therefore, like Kevin is seen as this like, sycophant who but then when you're actually in Kevin's head, you're like, no, that's not Kevin at all. Like Tyrion's perception of Kevin is wrong. But it's the same with like his perception of his dad. Like, oh, he doesn't believe in half measures. No, he's just insecure.
And
But
you brought up the point that like that Tywin's like in his 50s, right? He's like 55 or something, and he's like buff. He's like working
as buff
out.
as a
Like
20-year-old.
he's like literally like who's the attorney general, or like the guy that's like Trump's RFK. He's like RFK Jr. He's like whatever.
I'm
He's
thinking
like
more of like
trying to be buff.
Who's the guy that plays in Peacemaker?
Oh, he's like John Cena?
No. I was saying like
The father?
Frank Grillo.
Oh.
So Frank
'Cause
Grillo,
you're right that it
is
Frank Grillo's 60? Oh
right.
my god.
Yeah, this is kind of funny. Who's the guy that plays Punisher?
Oh, John Bernthal.
Yeah. How old is he?
I believe John Bernthal is
He's 49.
Okay, yeah, that tracks.
But so this is what's kind of funny. I for some reason in my feed, an interview between Dax Shepard and the guy from Scrubs came up. You know what I'm talking about?
Zach Braff.
Zach Braff. And the thing about like Zach Braff and Dax Shepard is they kind of look the same. And their names kind of Zach and Dax, right? So they start telling this story of, so Dax Shepard is interviewing Zach Braff, and Zach Braff begins to tell a story of he's at a club and he didn't even want to go out, and he's at this club and he runs into Michael Fassbender, and he loves Zach Braff is like, I love Michael Fassbender. Oh my God. And Michael Fassbender sees him and he's like, oh my God. And he walks over to Zach Braff and he's like, oh my God, it's so great to see you. I love your stuff. Like you're a fucking genius. Like Chips was incredible. And Zach Braff is like, and like he knows because other people have called him Dax Shepard several times in his life before. So he knows that like this happens. But it was like it hurt him because he was getting all blown up because he's like, Michael Fassbender loves me. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you think I'm Dax Shepard. And he said it was really awkward because he was with a friend and the friend was like, Michael Fassbender, stop. This is Zach Braff, Garden State, Scrubs, and starts giving him like the whole resume. And Michael Fassbender is just like super embarrassed and is like, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
And then like sheepishly like goes off and it's like horrible, right? It's a horribly embarrassing situation. Anyway, what's funny is he finishes telling the story and it's just horrible. And he's like, but the thing is, he's like, I did the same fucking thing to he met the guy from,
oh my God,
and called him John Bernthal. And he's like, what happened? He's like, he did the exact same fucking thing. He was just like, yeah, no, I've got to go. Like he didn't tell him. And he was just like, and then like, and he's like, that he walked, but nonetheless, these guys are fucking fit as fuck for being 60 years old or whatever. So yeah, that's fucking Tywin. Tywin's fucking fit.
Because everything's Charles Dance, and Charles Dance is an elegant old man, like he's
Right.
not
He's not
buff,
fucking,
he's not ripped, he's just thin, he's like thin, he stands up straight, that's it, but yeah, Tywin having like corded arms and stuff is just like, you don't picture that. You're like, yeah, and it feels kind of pathetic when you think that he's like, you realize that he's an old man, and how hard he must be trying to keep that figure.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing is like, it makes you like, even when you think of, if you take something very simple, like, fucking Shay, right? Like the difference between like how you interpret those scenes, like, and his like insecurity and his machismo. Like Tywin is much more of a Randall Tarley character than we think,
Yes. That he feels the need to have sex with his son, the woman that his son was having sex with,
to feel like more of a man. Yeah.
I wish he had a conversation. I wish Tyrion was like, Dad, what the fuck was that about? Why did you do that?
Just so weird that this is closer to, I mean, if he were, shaved head, that this is closer.
This is closer to Tywin. You're right. Tywin is kind of like California, Miami Beach, old guy.
I mean, I feel bad because like I've seen Frank Grillo in interviews. He's a fucking perfectly nice guy. I don't mean like I don't like
no,
he's a
no,
great
I don't
guy.
mean to be mean.
Like I don't like. He's not fucking Tywin Lannister. I mean, he has to stay fit for his job. But like, if you met like a 6-year-old who was like needed to be that fit, like, what are you doing?
Because you're right, he has the foil of Kevin, and Kevin's he doesn't care about, he's not insecure about his appearance and stuff. Kevin doesn't think about it at all. Even though people point out Kevin's appearance, he never seems insecure about how he looks, being fat or having a receding hairline. He doesn't care,
Yeah. But yeah, getting back to the question though, it does seem that like Tywin, he has a lot of self-delusion. Like, how does he not see that like Tywin legitimately does not believe that Jaime and Cersei are have any incest going on, when to Tyrion it's pretty obvious, right? So like, how is Tywin missing it? And I imagine he's able to lie to himself. So I think even had Tywin ordered Amory Lorch and the Mountain to do what they did, he would then somehow block it in his mind and be like, I didn't do that, and believe it, in a sociopathic way. So I think it's just that. Like,
Mm.
I'm not that kind of guy, even though he is.
I think Charles Dance played him perfectly in that regard because you're right. Like he didn't see Jaime and Cersei. Actually a scene in the show when Cersei confronts
Mm.
Tywin and she tells him about it and he goes, "I don't believe you. That's not true." And she goes, "Yeah, yeah, it is. You know." Like Charles Dance did it perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, what a good cast.
There's the
Nailed it.
Rat, the Hawk, and the Pig Rebellion of 251. Yeah, we talked about this. Yeah, I mean, it's too bad I did the whole list and then come back and be like, actually, two of those adventures are are probably the Rat,
I
the
should have
Hawk, and the
interrupted.
Pig, and then coming back. Probably the Westerlands uprising is them coming back, and then I was unsure about whether they'd have like Aegon's marriage be something. Probably not. I mean, it would probably be that. It would probably be that uh, adventure.
George likes his masked ball kind of thing because it's like that's this. There's like you kind of have it with the brazen beasts where it's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
masked ball with like animal masks, and then he seems to want to do it with the Bravos plot.
Mm.
He has like
Yeah, yeah,
this masked ball festival, so he must
it's
like
coming.
that as an idea. It's coming.
In the fanfic, will Sansa ever see Littlefinger's scar from Brandon?
Oh,
Is your take that Littlefinger believed that Cat got in his bed till Lysa confessed to Sansa? It's it's so odd. I mean, I think George is saying that that somehow Littlefinger was fooled. It's a really stupid. It's a stupid plot point. Like in bed you'd be fooled by somebody else, like somebody else's body, like their voice and the way that like you wouldn't be able to see them at all. It'd just be pitch black. Like it's it's a really stupid like concept. And if he's that drunk, like his dick isn't working. Like TV has all these fucking like drunk sex all the time, and you're like, oh my god, how are these people's dicks working? Okay, it's a dumb thing, but at the same time, yeah, I think George was going with the idea that Littlefinger really legitimately believed he had sex with Kat when it was Lysa, um, which is
because you pull that plot line when they're twins or something like that, right? Like, and
yeah. Like even when they're
Kat and
twins, like
Lysa are never
really,
just
you're gonna pull
prizes.
that? But no, I don't think Littlefinger acts like was lying. I think in this specific case, he really did believe it was like Cat, which makes more sense. If it's just like, oh, he's losing his virginity or something. He thinks it's a big, really important thing. I mean, Lysa says that like he called out her name and stuff like that, and he was he
Mm.
was telling people that he had sex with Kat. So it just seems to make sense that um, that it was Cat. Now, will he see the scar? I mean, where is this scar supposed to be? On his chest somewhere?
From his navel to his, or is that like a show thing?
Um,
I know in the show he's like, I have it from my navel to my chest or something like that. But it might be just a show
Navel
invention.
to collarbone.
There you go. Is that in show? Is that show or
This
book?
show.
Maybe they don't have it.
navel to collarbone.
In the show.
Yeah. I don't. Do we even hear about the?
I mean, it
Backhand
wouldn't
cut.
really matter because in the book, I believe it was like several dozen wounds or something like that.
In the book, he has multiple chances to yield. Peter refused. In the end, Peter staggered with it from a dozen wounds, bleeding from a dozen wounds. When Brandon ended with a backhand cut so brutal, Catelyn was convinced it was mortal. So yeah, he should have many scars. He should have tons of
Should.
scars on his body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At one point, she says Brandon was 20. Peter was scarcely 15. I had to beg Brandon to spare Peter's life. He left him with a scar.
Peter arrived with only a helm, breastplate, and mail, so he had some protection. So maybe the dozen wounds are mainly bruises. But yeah, the backhand cut sounds like it was pretty deep, so it had to have left a scar.
But
It doesn't.
where?
I
That
don't
is
think.
the question.
But where? Yeah, it's on his back. I don't know. A backhand
Backhand
cut.
cut?
I'm not trying to
Uh,
like that. Like, what is a backhand cut?
hmm.
Like, what does that look like? So it's like a slash. It's like a slash, I guess. I'm looking at tennis backhand cuts. um,
But if he's got the breastplate on, it can't be there. So
yeah,
I would guess it could be on his shoulder somewhere.
unless George R. R. Martin wrote that episode, then maybe it does come from George. I don't know.
He's part of the writing team for that one.
Yeah, what episodes did George
Only
R. R.
4.
Martin
Um,
writer?
the pointy
Blackwater.
end, I think.
Okay.
And they're early. There's like in seasons 1 to 3. The one where they climb the wall. The one that
Yeah, I know that he was the one with the Orwell.
Arya is in her dancing lesson, I think.
He wrote Pointy End, Blackwater, the episode where Jamie rescues Brienne, and the wedding, the Purple Wedding. He wrote that one.
Purple Wedding. Okay. So doesn't come from him.
Well, if we don't know, that means Preston, you can put it wherever on his body.
You, Carbide, you could have asked this to Elio. Elio probably
you guys,
this one.
you guys
we're just throwing everything on you. We're just throwing everything on you.
I can message him right now. I'm sure he'll reply when he wakes up.
Yeah, that's an easy one. That's an easy one, right? Like, where's Littlefinger's scar? Like, where's his scar?
Fine. All right. I just asked him, do you know what Avalon was going to be about? Also, where is Littlefinger's scar? Wait, I'll ask him a third question. On a scale from 1 to 10, what do you think about the Dornish master plan? I'm kidding.
No, we've talked to him about the Dornish master plan. He had never heard of it. He said he'd never heard of it before, and then I explained
That's some bullshit right there. He never heard of Dornish master plan? Come
on. Help boss asked for book to read. Without thinking, I said a song for Leah. She said she finished it this weekend and wants to chat about it later. If she's religious, how do I navigate this?
You're getting fired. You're
gonna get fired. Well, I mean, look, the I don't like. Obviously, from George's perspective, like, yeah, the story there, it's supposed to represent like that religious people are fanatical and things like that, but at the same time, like, the religious people are all very happy.
Mm-hmm. You're supposed to feel conflicted about it.
Yeah. It's odd because I've heard the thought experiment before. Like, I remember once, like, a guy from Hong Kong, like, asking, like, if there was a machine where if you went inside you lived forever but you'd be happy forever, would you go inside the machine? Which is essentially this question, like, would you, if do you really, really want heaven? Like, do you really, really want it? Do you really want to be happy with everyone that you love forever? Or, you know, do you want to do something else and be independent and die miserable? And weirdly, the choice is, yeah, I guess I want to be alone and die miserable, like, you know, and have it all end, which is an interesting thing. I mean, how do you navigate it if she's religious? I mean, I guess you just present it like, oh, it's an interesting question of, you know, obviously the alien is a stand-in for heaven and everything that heaven promises. But, you know, people that aren't religious, it's just not, strangely, eternal life and happiness, being surrounded by everyone you love is actually not appealing, which is counterintuitive, right?
I'd be curious to ask him if they got like a sinister vibe from the Shklima or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
like because we remember reinterpreted it with the Silor thing that like like it's intentionally trying to consume everybody, and it got like a telepath, and now it's converting people at a faster rate. Right,
Yeah.
like if you got a
Which
sinister
yeah.
interpretation.
Which George said, like, I don't
George
even
shot
remember. Yeah,
shot down, short
he's just
shot
like, I
down
don't.
real
He's like, that's
quickly.
not how I'd interpret it, but you know,
It's in there though. They have
it is.
like a character talk about the Silor aspect. So you're supposed to think about it in the back of your head, but George is like,
And it's in
nope.
like the last 5 lines of the fucking story. I mean, it's like at the right at the end, so you're like left with that like right at the end. But I mean, I can
Because
understand
now
like
they just
how
acquired an even more powerful telepath. Yeah, that they got an
right.
even more powerful. Like, yeah, it's funny.
I mean that's the genius of the story as well, is that there's so many ways that you can compare it to modern religion, like, you know, because like the methods that religion has to spread um can also be kind of nefarious, right? Like it tells its people, have as many kids as you can, outbreed everyone. And you're like,
Mm.
oh, like, you know, um, get to the kids when they're in school before they can before they have a chance to develop their mind. Teach kids at a young age, like, to believe in this religion. Like, it's a lot of like very nefarious like ways to propagate religion has to propagate itself. And so the Silor being like this like sinister thing is is definitely like, you know, relatable in this in the parallel sense of like the kind of weird sinister
Like
ways
when
that
a
religion
religion converts somebody that's very like converts Kirk Cameron or whatever, you know, like you convert somebody famous. Now like, oh,
and
now
yeah,
it's gonna get
now
a whole bunch more followers
you're right
or
that
something.
now that they have, yeah, or the fact that like, I don't know, you could view it in so many different ways. Like religious radio like is everywhere, like
Yeah.
like televangelists on TV. I mean, at the time, televangelists were like huge on TV at the time that the story was written. And like AM radio was like, that was a huge way of like spreading the religion. Um, yeah, but
Mm.
uh, yeah. How do you talk about it without getting fired? I don't know.
It's kind of a heavy book to talk to your boss about, you know, like
It is. It is.
yeah.
It is. Yeah, without thinking about it.
Like
Speaking
it's
of
like, yeah,
which,
me and my boss are talking about the last tough voyaging book, and it's like about like Malthus and if it's right to take away people, to sterilize a culture for their own good or something. Like it's like,
Yeah,
whoa,
if the
we're really
culture
talking
is
about things at
like
work.
so bad that it leads itself to starvation and destruction, like is it moral to fucking sterilize them?
It's like, I don't know
by the
about
way,
that.
on the topic of George and his works, are you guys still going to do that collab with Bookborn? Because I know you wanted to do that.
I have to send her an email. She said she was up for it
Hmm.
around now. So I've got to go to on vacation to Martinique next week, but I'll be back in like
Martinique, you say?
Martinique.
Hmm. Interesting. Martinique, France,
It's an
or
island of France, yes. It's
okay. You sure it's not Martinique in the Middle East somewhere? Okay.
is there a Martinique in the Middle East?
I'm fine, bro. We got to keep the
some
meme up that
French
you're
city.
you're. We got to keep the meme up
It's
that you're
possible.
overseas.
I
Got to keep
know.
the meme.
Oh, Trey, Bob Gilman acknowledged your wisdom.
Oh yeah, he's a famous Bigfoot believer, Bigfoot YouTuber, and
Mm.
he posted a response. I mentioned him in a video about Native American Bigfoot, where he thinks that there's this being in Tlingit mythology called the Kushtaka, like, which is land otter man, and he had a video. It's a very old video talking about how like it's actually the Native American word for Bigfoot. They didn't have a word for monkey or ape, so they used otter to like as a analogy. Like they're meant to say Bigfoot, but they didn't have a word for Bigfoot, so that's why it's land. It's not actually talking about otters. It's like otters kind of look like Bigfoot when they stand on their fur. It's a very half-baked idea. Anyways, in the video, I emailed Tlingit tribal members and stuff, and Tlingit tribal members were just like, "This is offensive. This is like, I find this offensive. This is like it. The word, like, it's about literally otters that can turn into human beings through shape shifting. That it's a word for shamans. Like, that's what it is." And so he made a response video and basically had to be like, "Yeah, Trey was right." But also he still like he still is holding on to it, where he had to walk it back, but also like he didn't go all the way and was like, well, like these mythologies have been around for 2,000 years, so maybe the modern Tlingit don't know what they're talking about, and the word has taken on a new meaning. And it doesn't, he's like, it still might mean Bigfoot. And so it's like, he had to admit it, but then he kind of doesn't. It's like, I don't know. It's grasping at straws, It's like people really desperately want Native Americans to have Bigfoot evidence and stuff, and they kind of don't. Like, Native American mythology really doesn't back them up. And
Really,
yeah, so he made a response video.
their mythology of all like would back up like this giant creature, this hairy ape creature. But I guess, wow, I thought they would have something like that in there.
That's the problem, right? Like, that's the problem, is that like if Native Americans have been living here for tens of thousands of years, you'd think their mythology would have records of Bigfoots and stuff. And they grasp at straws. They find names. They try to find like individual Native Americans that believe in Bigfoot, have Bigfoot sightings and stuff. And the thing is that the mythologies really don't back them up. The things that they describe are not, like, they're typically stories about giants, and they're giant people with like kettles and tents and stuff, their mythology is filled with like mythological figures like European folklore, and it's not Bigfoot. So anyways, he had to admit it, but he kind of walked it back. And then also the Patterson Gimlin film was kind of proven to be false. So now the Bigfoot community is all like, that's the least of their problems now. Now, like, the best piece of evidence is proven to be a forgery, or a fraud.
That's so funny.
It's a mess.
So what you're saying is Bigfoot came over with the Pilgrims. Like, the Native Americans never encountered them before, but Bigfoot came over with the Pilgrims, essentially, and they started living out here.
Bigfoot seems to be a product of the 1950s. Like, people heard about the Yeti, and then we're like, America needs its own Yeti, and was like, we're gonna kind of invent Bigfoot in the United States. Like, like, if you look, like, there really aren't creatures described like Bigfoot. Like, the stories that they have to grasp at straws are stories about like wild men, and it's wild human beings living in the wilderness, and are hairy, but like they reinterpret being hairy as like being covered in monkey hair, like they're like apes, when that's not what the stories originally said. So it's a lot of retroactively trying to like quote mine and cherry pick and stuff. And because like the original story that gave us the word Sasquatch is not talking about our modern idea of Bigfoot. The origin of the word Sasquatch in the original publications by this anthropologist, this school teacher turned anthropologist, who was interviewing Native Americans in the Pacific Northwest. The first stories that mention Sasquatch are talking about wild people, and people that speak, that are related to the Douglas Native Americans, like the Douglas tribe, the Hawkshaw tribe, and they're specifically said to speak the Douglas tongue and live in houses and have fires and stuff. And the word just people reinterpreted the word because they wanted to have a monkey man ape Bigfoot. And so,
the explainer,
and it's all there
indeed.
if you read it.
The explainer, indeed. Homie, this is so fascinating. Like, I don't know if you've decided like on your next topic of your next video, but man, if it was this, oof, this is good.
I have a big Native American Bigfoot video. Like, I kind of said all I needed to say. Like, the thing is they'll hear it and they'll try to make excuses for it,
Right.
Like they'll have Native American tribal representatives saying that's not how you should interpret the story, and they'll just ignore it. They don't care, And people say that this is offensive. You're taking our culture. Like, yeah, it's it's a mess. So that's Bob Gimlin. Anyways, he posted a response video to me, and I'm assuming it got popular. I watched it. His arguments are not the best. He kind of had to like apologize and walk his stuff back. But yeah. So, anyways,
thoughts on Afro Man case. For those who don't know, the Afro Man case was Afro Man is the guy who wrote that song Because I Got High a long time ago. Because I got high. Because I got high.
And he also wrote
because I
Coke
got
45
high.
and a 2 Zigzags. That one too.
Anyway, a few years ago, he was arrested during some raid, and then he wrote a rap song about like everything that they did to him in during that, but then exaggerated things and made a lot of accusations about people taking bribes and things like that in it. So they sued him for defamation of character, and he got off today or a few days ago, because defamation of character is actually pretty difficult to prove, because the big thing is it's not just that people lie about you. You have to prove damages. And the only thing they really had was emotional distress and embarrassment, which is, like that's hard to prove. I mean, if you're saying emotional distress and embarrassment, well, then anytime somebody like says something or lies, like you could sue. And that's not really the society we live in. We live in a society where it's legal to lie. It's just not legal to lie and cause somebody damages. I mean, obviously, if you're in court, you can't publicly, if you're under oath and things like that, you can't lie. But in your private life, you can lie all day long. But you can't have a defamation cause damages. And so in this case, it was pretty easy call. I think the jury was back in one day that these people didn't had. I mean, Afro Man may have been lying about them. He may have been exaggerating what happened, but at the same time, like, yeah, nothing really bad happened to you because
you forgot one crucial thing. He had cameras in his house, and he recorded them breaking into his house and arresting him for these false charges, and he used that footage in his music video, bashing them. So it's like, perfect.
Yeah.
Justice.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's one thing if like, if Afro Man, that's the thing is like, there's a question of like, oh, is Afro Man lying? Like, well, if Afro Man is telling the truth, then that's one thing. He can cause as much damage as possible telling the truth. But if he's lying, then you have to prove damages, and I don't think they could prove damages. So. So yeah, that's how it works. But it's kind of a weird world we live in, because like, we're Trey Carmine and I are on the internet all the time, and like people fucking lie about us constantly. They fucking lie about us constantly and try to like do shit to us constantly. And it's like, what's our recourse? Well, unless we can prove financial damages, it's tough. We're just victims of it, so, but what you gonna do? Tywin on the Green Fork. He wants a decisive battle before more armies muster. He worries the northern armies won't engage. Just keep him occupied. Flawed computation, but it's a little like Hannibal in Italy. I mean, I think if you want to try to like, make an apology for George's mistake here, fine. But like, the thing is, it's what Tywin is doing. One is just based on a plot hole. Okay, like everyone in the story all of a sudden thinks Stannis is a rebel out of fucking nowhere. Okay, like it has been a fucking year. Like Stannis has left, and it's been a year, and everyone thinks that Stannis has left because he's angry about the Sweet Robin fostering situation. Okay, Varys knows a rumor that he's collecting arms around him, but so is Lysa. We don't know if he's told everyone. And Tywin, and we certainly don't know if anyone's told Tywin. Like, why would Tywin? Like, keep in mind, Tywin's now, he's been out on the road for months. You have no idea, like, what ravens are going back and forth between him and Pycelle or him and Cersei. We don't know. But, like, this all of a sudden idea that he has to take care of Stannis is this, like, somehow Tywin read A Clash of Kings, as did everyone at court. And they find out that, Stannis is going to rebel, and we've got to deal with that. Even though there's just nothing. There's nothing in a Game of Thrones that suggests this. Like, we have Jaime and Cersei talking to each other at the beginning of the story, and they're not worried about Stannis, like, at all. So the fact that, like, Tywin wants to leave this incredibly good position at the Ruby Ford, where he's got the high road, the Ruby Ford, they're entrenched. It's great that he wants to, like, go north and meet Roose Bolton on the King's Road because he wants to get this over with quickly so he can deal with Stannis. Like, how much time is he gaining? Like 2 weeks? Like it's such a weird calculation. Now, it's like, it has to, that George has to have it because he wants to have, like, the Green Fork on one side, and he has this whole battle in mind for Tyrion to experience. But if you have to sit down and be like, does this make any sense at all? No, it doesn't make any sense at all. It was written during a very quickly written book, during his speediest time of writing, where he's just, and there's a lot of mistakes at the end of A Clash of Kings. It's fine. I mean, I'm at the end of A Game of Thrones. It's fine. It's a great book, but Tywin, like, everybody in the story thinking that Stannis is a rebel is just a major plot hole. It just doesn't make any sense. But, you can try to come up with, like, fun little, like apologies, but, it's more thought than George put into it.
I'll ask Elio about it. I know you're gonna. I'll ask him about it. I'll put it in here. Why does everyone think Stannis?
No, look, Elio's gonna say the same thing. It's like when I told him about So when we had a conversation with Elio, and I brought up, for example, like, I asked him, like, what do you do when there's, like, a clear, like, mistake, but like, and it leads to, like, weird outcomes when you think about it. And I brought up Lewin's saying or Catelyn saying that Lewin birthed all 5 of her children. Okay, because if Lewin birthed all 5 of his children, and then we find out that she birthed Robb at Riverrun, then Lewin was the maester at Riverrun. All of a sudden, if Lewin is the maester at Riverrun, is Lewin the one that gave the abortion medication to Lysa? And you've got, like, huge implications. And Elio's like, I would just say that, like, Cat misspoke. like, yeah, like, that's what Elio said. He's like, she just made a mistake. Like, that's fine. Like,
I love the theory crafting that comes from that Lewin is secretly like pro Cat, like they're, like, thick as thieves, those two, scheming constantly. It's like, no.
Trey wasn't here.
The idea that even that other armies are even mustering, like, they don't have any idea that other armies are doing anything. Like,
Stannis gets just like glazed up over the course of the series because then like George has to add like the Fair Isle thing to give Stannis like a major victory to like praise him. Like
Mhm.
he just knew I need to keep making Stannis this epic character here.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when you kind of like write stuff and then it retroactively everything changes, like I read X-Men comics growing up, and like there's some ridiculous stuff in there, like all like so X-Men comic is going like decades and decades, and they have all these storylines, and then they introduce this guy Mr. Sinister in the middle of like the probably around 1990. When did Mr. Sinister get included? But Mr. Sinister, all of a sudden, he was actually the cause of fucking everything. Like, oh, really? The reason Cyclops, when you fell out of that plane and you like damaged yourself so that your eye beams are on continuously all day long, because he used to be able to control them, but because he fell out of a plane and he hit his head, he wasn't able to like like turn him off. He did it the whole time. And you're like, oh, really? Mr. Sinister did it the whole time. This character that you invented in 1986 was responsible for all these events going back to the 60s. Yeah, sure. Yeah. It's the same with Stannis. I mean, Stannis becomes this incredibly important character who is barely mentioned in a Game of Thrones. Baelor and Daemon Blackfyre are the same age. Baelor said to be one of the most powerful knights of his time, resentful, not recognized by Aegon the Fourth or given Blackfyre the sword, demanded its return. Is that the real reason the war started? Huh. That it was really Baelor instead of Daeron. The problem is that Baelor is created before like the concept of Blackfyre, about like the Baelor long precedes like it like even the concept of David Blackfyre existing, or the Blackfyre rebellions or things like that. Like Daemon Blackfyre is first kind of mentioned in A Storm of Swords, while Baelor is invented in the Hedge Knight. So it's like 4 years kind of difference in like age. So like could this retroactive like idea of Baelor being this powerful knight wanting Blackfyre, see, the problem with Blackfyre is that Blackfyre, all right, we're going like full information on Blackfyre here. Blackfyre did have a tradition of being held by the heir. And so, and it meaning that it was the king's sword. So, Aegon had it and then he gave it to Maegor. And so Maegor believed that he was the rightful king. They kind of had a power sharing agreement, him and Aenys, where he became hand and Aenys became king. But then Maegor's like, I'm king after that. And you kind of understand it if you go through it like with the Blackfyre connection. And then, Jaehaerys gets it, and then Viserys gets it. And then it's very important that Aegon II has it in his claim over Rhaenyra. He thinks it's very important that this sword represents the kingship. So It's not until Daemon Blackfire gets it, and that precedent is completely rejected. That no, having the sword means fucking nothing.
Mm.
That it's kind of forgotten about as the symbol of being a king. Um, and so like Baelor should not in any way expect that sword. He would expect it being given to his father Daron at this time period, because at this time period, the precedent of Blackfire being given, like the precedent is that Blackfire is given to the heir, not that Blackfire is given to the best knight. This is, this sword isn't Dawn. This sword isn't Dark Sister, where it's like given to some awesome dude. It is specific, like Blackfire is specifically given to the heir and held by the person who's the king, like it's so Baelor would never expect it. He might be resentful that his father wasn't given it, but he would never be expecting it himself. Like Blackfire was not given out to people because you're a really great fighter, because otherwise Daemon Targaryen would have had Blackfire. He wouldn't have had Dark Sister, but no one expected, Daemon to to be the heir. I mean, until, Viserys had his whole thing, heir for a day and all that. Is Dunk exiled to Essos or goes there voluntarily? No, I don't think he's ever goes to Essos in his life. I think he's just a sellsword. Keep in mind that like the sellsword as a title is just kind of a random thing that George said in a So Spake Martin. But the idea would be that like Dunk is still a knight, but he's not yet a Kingsguard, and he's being hired into the war to fight. I mean, he's just a Westerosi sellsword. He's not. I don't think he's ever. Dunk is never exiled. I don't know about Dunk ever being in Essos ever. But I think Where's Poochie maybe is thinking because he was a sellsword. We associate Essos with sellswords, but no, he's just a Westerosi sellsword. Is it?
I think there might be. I'm gonna see the epilogue of Night of the Seven Kingdoms to see if there might be something about Essos in it. I think there's something about him going across the Narrow Sea.
Really?
At some point in his life. I'm downloading.
Wait, is there
it right
more in
now
the Night of the Seven Kingdoms book? Like at the end?
There is an epilogue. There's an epilogue where George is like, the more adventures of Dunk and Egg are coming soon.
Really?
I'm downloading it right now. Yeah, let me.
Oh, Trey, I have all of it. You want me to send it to you?
No, it's almost done. I have it.
I had no
idea.
I had no idea that Night of the Seven Kingdoms had any.
Let me see
Information.
Let me double check.
This is not. This is not the comic, right? This is the actual book.
This is the actual. This is the what's it called? The collection. Yes. Okay. All right. Here we go. The end. ... of the beginning. More travels and travails await our hedge knight and his squire in years to come. From Dorne to the Wall, their journeys will carry them across the length and girth of the Seven Kingdoms, and even beyond the narrow sea to the disputed lands and the shining cities of Essos.
Okay, I'm wrong.
So there you go.
I guess the sellsword, but that also changes like what I think.
What they could do. That's a mess.
That means he's going to have an adventure in Essos.
Not only that, but he says like the disputed lands and the shining cities of Essos. So we're like disputed land story, Essos like free cities story.
Press I sent you on Facebook.
It's gonna
be a mess. I'm sorry for being very wrong here.
Well, no. That's a like little tiny epilogue in like the re-release of the collection stories, like that's like a obscure bit of information from George right there. But yeah,
No, but the person had made this question, and I was like, oh, geez. And I okay.
Interesting thing here. Along the way, they'll cross paths with lords and knights and sorcerers.
sorcerers are gonna meet,
Hmm.
and they're gonna meet Bloodraven, maybe.
But those are
More
tales
travels
for another.
more travels and more travails await our hedge knight and his squire in the years to come. From Dorne to the Wall, their journeys will carry them across the length and breadth of the Seven Kingdoms, and even beyond the narrow sea to the disputed lands and the shining cities of Essos.
Keep reading.
Along the
George
way,
R.
they will
Martin.
cross paths with lords and knights and sorcerers, and many a fair maid and noble lady, to write their names into the annals of Westeros, never to be forgotten. But those are tales for another time. Keep reading. George R. Martin, Santa Fe, May 2015.
11 years ago. Almost 11 years ago. Gosh darn.
I mean,
man.
disputed lands and the shining cities of East. I mean, I suppose you could say that's just Tyrosh, Lyce, and Volantis or something. But
yeah, you go to cities that we haven't been before. That sounds like George, to go to cities that we're very likely not returning to or not going to visit ever, like Tyrosh, Mir, these places that we'll just never go to.
yeah, I mean, it could just be one more adventure. I mean, Dorne to the Wall, like we know that already because he does say that they're going to go to the Wall at the end of the Sworn Sword. But yeah, knights, sorcerers, many a fair man and noble lady. Well, who's the sorcerer? Well, I mean, Bloodraven, I guess.
I
Bloodraven's
guess
the
it's
sorcerer.
Bloodraven. Maybe they meet Shiera Seastar. I know she's I guess it'd be sorceress.
Well, that makes. I mean, I guess it is. The sellsword is probably a tale of them, and now I've got like now to redo the fucking list. This whole fucking episode. I thought I was
Sorry.
getting to the
I should have called
definitive
in
end,
earlier.
definitive list, and then all this shit. Now there's too many stories. Now there's too many stories.
I don't think George. I think George is bullshitting. Like you're not writing a disputed lands story.
The thing is,
like,
did he even mention this disputed land story to Ira Parker? That's
you would think, right? You would think.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, you could ask Elio. Is there did George give you anything about a disputed land dunk and egg story?
You want to ask him that right now?
Yeah, or just so he doesn't think that like we're that you're trying to, that he's giving up information that like he's not supposed to give up. But you can put at the end of the Night of the Seven Kingdoms compilation, it says that Dunk will travel to the disputed lands. Yeah. Did George provide you any information about Dunk going to the disputed lands? Then just or you could ask, like, is this the only place that like this appears, or does George have other notes on this? Not that we want it. I just want to know that, like, if it's true. Like, is Dunk really going to the disputed lands, or have you seen other information about the disputed lands? Because if this is the only thing, then maybe Trey is right that it's just like fucking, he's just bullshitting. Like, maybe they're going to go to disputed lands.
It's possible.
Versus
many adventures,
detailed notes.
It's like Anakin and Obi-Wan. We had I got stuck in that nest of Gundarks or whatever, like it's just, you're gonna hear about these great adventers.
You owe me enough for saving your skin for the 10th time, 9th time. That whole business on Cato de Moria doesn't count.
Have you sent Elio like 15 messages in a row?
Yeah.
I've sent him like what's Avalon? Where's Littlefinger's scar? At the end of the epilogue to Night of the Seven. That's the only 3 so far.
Okay, all right. Let's chill there.
No more questions.
Why'd you ask about Avalon? He doesn't know about Avalon.
It's Trey's question.
Yeah, he doesn't. I know it was my question, but it's a Hail Mary. I don't know if he could answer it or not.
Probably does.
Ever heard of a comic named The Last God? I don't think so. DC Comics. See, I was a Marvel reader. I don't know much about.
Oh, looks pretty intense.
The Last God tells the story of the fellowship of heroes struggling with the same threat 30 years apart. One group will doom the world, and the others must save it. 30 years ago, a brand of heroes traveled beyond the border of creation and killed the last living god, saving the realm of Cain Anun from an apocalyptic army of the undead. The legendary companions became the rulers of their world and ushered in a new kingdom of peace and prosperity, but it did not last. I mean, what are they? Existentialists? Killing God? Now the foul legions of the last gods march once more, laying waste to all of Canaan and reveling that the aging fellowship may not be the great heroes they claim to be. With the world burning down around them, a new group of unlikely champions must band together and accomplish what no one has done. Kill the last god once and for all. So it's kind of like it, right? Like, like this monster comes and then another generation. I guess it's like the others. Another generation has to come back, defeat it. Or Dunk with his hawk, the rat, 30 years later coming back. Who will or should be Dunk's Egg's hand? Huh.
I think it would be his son. One of his sons. It seems like he's pretty close with one of his sons.
Yeah, you're right. Duncan the Small is still around him, right?
Yeah. Like, yeah, I'd assume that he might be the hand.
Yeah, even though they never say that about him, but he.
You're right that George has intentionally left no information on who's Egg's hand.
Yeah.
Maybe some character yet to be revealed.
Lord Karen of the Marches, motherfuckers. The most important man in the world. Lord Karen of the Marches.
That man scares me. We need to call him out. Get his oath of fealty.
Oh, God. Aemon says three vows. Once as a boy, pre-maester. His 3 challenges. So it's kind of funny because about Aemon's the testing of Aemon's vows. Because obviously this was written at a time where George had no fucking idea about Aemon Targaryen's life. Like none of this had been written. And so he was just writing a fucking line. And then later, like, what's going to come in, right? Let me get the exact thing here. 3 times the gods sought to test my vows. Once when I was a boy, once in the fullness of my manhood, and one time when I had grown old. By then my strength was fled, my eyes grown dim. I mean, I imagine that, like, obviously, like, I think the last one is going to be probably when Aerys is like Robert's Rebellion would probably be the one when he grew old. That something happened during Robert's Rebellion and he felt like he could perhaps intervene and did not, because he's still old at that point, right? But then, like, yeah, like when do the other ones come? Like, probably like when this line was written, George had no idea. But obviously, I think once when he was a boy is the Council of 233. Is it 233, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's talk that it was actually offered to him. and that he would be freed of his maester vows, and he like refused. And so being king is probably the first one. Or maybe that's fullness of the manhood. How old is he? 233. He's born in 198. Yeah, no, fullness of manhood. That's okay. So the council and all being offered king is definitely one of them. But the once as a boy, pre-maester, what was this? Well, he's got to be young. Okay. Maybe Blackfire sympathizer, Amy's Blackfire supporter, Weiss sent to the wall. Power struggle between him and Bloodraven at the wall. Also, could Aemon Maester become Lord Commander? Can Maesters become Lord Commanders? I don't think they would be. They're just not trained to be fighters, right? They would probably want a fighter to be a Lord Commander. Let me think about this for a second. Once when I was a boy. All right, so assuming that Maester Aemon is a man grown at 16. So he becomes a man grown in 214. But no one's really expecting him to do shit probably before the age of oh wait, when does he become a maester? That's an important thing. He finished his studies at 19. When was he sent off?
I can check.
Around the age of 9 or 10. Okay. Okay, so
Hey, why are you biting me?
the problem is, unfortunately, it doesn't fucking make sense. Like, he's not taking his maester vows until he's 19. When he becomes a maester. And then he's not a boy. He's 19. He's a man grown.
George didn't think the line. We can't send this to Elio. We can't send this like.
No. I mean, so I mean, I guess if you're somehow thinking that he has his vow as a fucking novice or acolyte, it could be tested at as a boy, but it's not really. He hasn't really done any vow. He hasn't done a maester vow. George didn't think this through, but it's got to be in assuming he's a man grown at 16, he becomes an acolyte at like 10, or a novice acolyte at 10. He's so it's got to be somewhere between 208 and 214. And the Blackfire Rebellion is the first Blackfire Rebellion is in the year 196. So it's before he's even born. So it's not that. And the second Blackfire Rebellion, he doesn't seem like he'd be doing anything. So because we experienced the second Blackfire Rebellion and the Mystery Knight, and Aemon is not fucking part of it. I don't think it can be Blackfires. There's just because it just doesn't seem like the Blackfires are doing anything during that period of time. So it'll just be a
I
mystery.
uh I might need to hop off in a second, but I see there's a super chat for me.
Okay.
So I'll answer it before I hop off. This is Kyle asking Trey, what validity is there to early Americans inventing Bigfoot as a thing to conquer and using that to be cool in relation to the Europeans? That's a good question. I think there's you're putting too much thought into it. I think Bigfoot as a concept just started when people were just like, we have this thing in the Yeti in the East, and it's mysterious, and wouldn't it be cool if we had that here? Like, and Bigfoot kind of shows up at a time when people are starting to accept the idea of ape men, like Australopithecus and stuff, like transitional between ape and human. So like, I think he kind of comes about as that. Like there probably is something about Americans mourning the loss of like the wilderness, and like Bigfoot is us clinging on to the wilderness as like this idea. And if Bigfoot doesn't exist, then it's like accepting that we fully have conquered the world. Like in the same way the Yeti exists above the snow line and one of the last places where humans have not conquered. But then that's, if we disprove that, then now there's nowhere left to conquer. I think that's kind of it, maybe, that's where it kind of comes from. It's our kind of subconscious mourning the loss of the wilderness and the mystery of the world, I guess. Yeah. So there's my answer. But yes, I might have to hop off because it's getting late here. But thank you for having me on.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
been
getting.
fun. It's been fun.
I've got to get through some things too, really quick. But for
So
Nick
I'll
Conius,
see
I
you.
think yeah, for the last one, maybe I'll do a topic on. Thank you, Trey.
Love you, Trey.
I know. But for Nick, I think like maybe I'll do a stream on this topic because it's pretty. I mean, obviously, like George has no fucking clue, and and like Maester Aemon's like comments don't actually make any sense, but like maybe we can come up with something that like fits, kind of like what's in um, Maester Walgrave's, like what is the gauntlet, like that kind of thing. Like George wasn't thinking about it, but our explanation like is pretty cool. So maybe we can come up with something like that. I think this might be a topic for a future stream. Oh, the cods invented Amazon. That's funny. Um, why did the Targs or Robert genocide the mountain clans? Uh, so around the world, there are usually like when you go to countries that have mountainous areas, there's often rebel groups in the mountains. It's incredibly difficult to root them out because they have the high ground. So you go to the Philippines or different places, they'll just have like rebel groups in the mountains, and it's like why don't they clear them out? It's just not worth it. It's just
Wasn't
like
that
what?
the problem Alexander encountered when he
Mhm.
went through? It is, right? I'm not wrong
Yeah,
about that.
absolutely, yeah.
Uh,
It's all through history this happens, where it's just like it's people in some mountainous areas. It's like they don't have enough strength to come down the mountains and do much, but like you just
it's
don't
home
have the
turf,
resources to go up the mountains and get them. So it's because they have
right?
high ground, and that's pretty much it. Um, they live off the land there, and then they, uh, the Iron Islands have no bastard names. Pike is a nickname for people from Lordsport, misread by the fandom. No pikes are associated with any noble house. Um, I'm trying to think if his last name is ever given as Pike. Um, Cotter Pike. Obviously.
Don't forget Kemet Pike, because you brought that up one time. I was like, who the hell is Kemet Pike? He joins Euron
Oh, really? Yeah.
in the Kraken's Daughter chapter. So Kemet Pike, Cotter Pike, Wex.
Is there any? Is there any proof, like in the text, that Pike is the actual bastard name? Because we have to have like a royal family with a son who's a
Mm-hmm.
Pike, right?
Right.
Um, let's see. Because like Wex is caught, like Wex is a bastard, but we don't hear his last name. Um, see, that's the kind of funny thing, because Cotter Pike doesn't even make sense, because like he's clearly not highborn at all. Like, why does he have a last name at all? Like, he should just be Cotter. Pike stands out. Man, does the name Pike. I think like if there's something I'm missing about Pike, like it would probably happen in like was there a Pike referenced in Fire and Blood? Um but there's been so few people with the surname Pike. All right. One last search here. Pike bastard surnames. We just get Tyrion 10? Storm of Swords? What is that about? Cotter Pike, Jon Snow. Pike, Cotter Pike. Oh, for some reason the wiki lists Wex's name as Wex Pike. But I don't know if that is true. No one has ever called him Wex Pike. Unless he's not in like an appendix, right? As Wex Pike. Let me see here. He'd be in a Clash of Kings appendix. And it just has Wex is not listed in the appendix of a Clash of Kings. You're like, thanks. Okay, maybe he's in the appendix of A Dance with Dragons. Wex, a boy of 12, Squire, not Wex Pike. Ryan makes a really good point here. There's nothing in the text.
This is one of those things where this is a really good thing to point out, but also it could be like us being dumb and not catching something.
Yeah.
Huh. This is a really good shit.
It's interesting. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm sure if you asked George, you'd be like, "Oh, it's the bastard name." But it's funny that like Wex's surname is never given as Pike.
Then why
It's
is it on the
only in
wiki?
the
Where did that
wiki
come
that
from?
way because he's the bastard son of Sargon Botley of
Right.
Lordsport.
Oh.
But and so you're saying just for people from Lordsport, but like even Wex Pike, even Wex doesn't have the surname Pike. Um, there's some weird,
Right. Ryan
yeah.
here says that's what I'm saying. The fans decided on their own that it was a bastard name. Wiki can't be trusted. I
Wiki
mean,
cannot be trusted. You're right.
eh,
You're right. There's nothing. There's nothing in the text. There's nothing in the text. Like even Wex does not have the fucking last name Pike. There's hardly any Pikes except for Cotter Pike. I'm trying to think
and
of
that guy
anybody.
Chemnit Pike. I'm probably saying it
What?
wrong.
Who is this other guy? Kevin Pike?
No, Chem Kemet Pike.
Kemet Pike.
Kemmett Pike. Kemet, also known as Kemet the Bastard. He's in. He shows up in chapter 11, the Kraken's daughter. I remember specifically because you mentioned him to me a while back on stream, and I was like, "Huh?"
Okay.
But other than he's with Euron, we don't know much about him.
That's it. That's so fucking weird that we have so few Pikes. That we just have Kemet Pike and Cotter Pike, and that is fucking it. Wait, there's Ragnar Pike, Longwater Pike.
Ragnar Pike? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I see it here.
I mean, I guess it's just the assumption that like these characters all have the same last names and they're bastards. Like that's the only thing that really like unites them. Is that these two characters? I mean, Ragnar Pike. We like we know nothing about their families, but I mean, the assumption is because we know that Cotter Pike is a bastard, and we know that Kemet the bastard is also a bastard, and they both have the last name Pike. That's the only assumption, is that like somehow they that it's from bastardy, you know. So how do they bring Rohan back into the fold, assuming she's a fan favorite, a la Lionel Rohan? I don't know. Do we do it? Dream sequences? Dream sequences? I mean, unfortunately, with Lionel, it's like he's not coming back into the story for many years, unless we can have him come to the tourney in the Mystery Night or something. But
I feel like the only way you could pretty much bring some of these characters back would be at Egg's wedding. Like
yeah,
that
Egg's
would be a
wedding.
nice reason for them to come back. Like Raymond. Why not?
Yeah. We had this one. Are we getting the same thing with Danny that we're getting with Egg? Is King's Landing burning his Summerfall where whoops ended up crazy after all? Yes, I think that's the situation. Is John the subversion because Ned did what Dunk couldn't? Like Dunk is unable to stab Egg or something and stop it all.
It seems the fire moves very quickly, so a lot of decisions made on the fly. Maybe. Who
Yeah.
knows?
I don't know. I don't know if George has really like thought it through. Like I see what you're saying, that we got these two crazy targs about to do damage, and Dunk doesn't do it in time and like allows the fire to burn a bunch of fucking people, and I guess Danny burns the city and he kills her after.
The thing about Darth Egg, that whole thing, I did ask Elio about that, and I don't know if what he said to me is public or not, so I won't go into it, but and I don't remember if we talked about it in the first thing, maybe for the third interview thing, but
Yeah. I've got to go to bed. I haven't read The Last Ring Bearer. I'm sorry. Um, oh, you could have a story about Bloodriven going to the wall. The thing is, Bloodriven sent right to the wall after the council, so that would be the same episode, like the same thing, the same time period. Like it's the first thing Egg does is after the council is send Bloodriven off. So,
sorry to the person who said I was teasing that. Sorry.
yeah. BF never given an heir. Blackfire's never get Aenys gave to Maegor. Oh, Blackfire never given to an heir. Aenys gave it to Maegor, not Aegon the First, while Aenys already had his own heir. No. I mean, the thing is, like, I'm saying the thing with Maegor and Aenys, there seems to be a disagreement here, like about like who was supposed to be king. And I think that like at the time, like keep in mind that like Visenya completely believed that Maegor was the heir. That's why he got the sword, and that's why, and she was the one claiming that like Aegon wanted Maegor to follow him. And then there was a discussion, like he and Aenys seemed to come like to a co-ruling agreement where he's king and Maegor is hand. And then the usurping happens after. And so I think it's definitely related to Blackfire. Like Aenys didn't really have an heir. Like I understand there's like, you know, weird things in the world of Ice and Fire, but that's not in Fire and Blood where we actually get it. Like he's not like Aenys is not like they don't he's not like Aegon the Unworthy. I mean Aegon the Uncrowned is not like named an heir and things like that. It's all very shady because George wants it to be ambiguous about what's going on with Blackfire the Sword. But you know, and some of this is my like conjecture. Like, you know, I'm not saying things are fact here, but like it does seem like there's weirdness going on with like Blackfire, like what it means. Like it means, does it mean you're the real king? Because clearly by the time you get to Aegon II thinks it's a symbol of the kingship. And so does Daemon Blackfire. Like both of these characters think it's a symbol of the kingship. So like Maegor having it and there being an issue and there being a discussion and a feud and like him being hand and then a usurping of Aegon the Uncrowned, like it all seems related to me. But again, it's my conjecture though. I can't be 100% positive about it. All right, I got to the end. Yay! All right, Carmine. Thank you very much, and thank you to.
Hey man, no, hey, thank you for joining me on my stream, guys. That is it for tonight. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we worked through the Duncan Egg list, even though I got it wrong, and then we got some.
By the way, do you want to announce that? Because I'm putting up the Elio stuff hopefully tomorrow on my Patreon. It's also going to be on Preston's Patreon too.
Yeah.
So
I'm not in it, but it's Carmine talking to Elio. So.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. So look, yeah, you can, you know, my Patreon people can look for that. You said tomorrow, right? So
yes, I'm going to try to get it out tomorrow. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Thank you, everyone. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.